Hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from AstroLada.com, and my presence for 2025 for you is the 12 signs, a summary of my 2025 video horoscopes in short, small packages of 10, 15, 20 minutes max per sign. I focus on Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars because these are the most important and active planets that show the tangible results you'll see in your life in 2025. But if you want the extended version of those videos, I have them on my website, 2.5 hours per each sign, where I cover Neptune changing signs, Uranus changing signs, the bisextile between Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune, Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries, the eclipses. Month by month I go there, but here this is a summary for you, for the major influences, so you know where to concentrate your efforts and where the best and the biggest gains from your efforts will come. So enjoy. Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising 2025. Aries, this year 2025 and 2026 are the beginning not of a new chapter but of a new book in your life. They're so pivotal because Saturn and Neptune are going to start their conjunction, their 35-year cycle at the beginning of Aries. So all Aries in some way will be called to play a very important role in the creation of the new paradigm, ideals, the new visions of the future of the next 35 years. But it starts in 25 and 26 for you, Aries. And even if you're not called to change the world, but some areas will be, because this epochal conjunction that creates new worlds, new whole society and world orders is happening in your sign. But even those of you who are more normal people, there's something big starting, new inspirations coming your way, new chapter in your life, as I said, new book even in some way, but we'll speak about that. But let's be more concise. The first 3-4 months of the year, the biggest focus for you, Aries, will be where Mars is. This is the planet that rules you. Wherever Mars goes, you're concentrated there. And Mars is for the next up till the middle of April in your 4th house all the time, pretty much. So retrograde and direct. Those first 4 months almost, you are focused on fixing something connected to home, property, real estate, relationships with parents, with extended family. There might be some crisis there. There might be some stresses that you experience through there that you have to mobilize your energy and resources and creativity and whatever you else want just to solve them. But as well, it can mean Mars's higher octave is to fix, to improve, to make better. So, for example, repairs at home, repairing a relationship with a parent, or working really hard on the family, on somehow on your inner world, on your feelings, on these are more in your personal life. Somehow there is a lot of attention on your personal life, where you live, what is your environment, changing it in some way, or where you're going to live, taking some important decisions. And Mars retrograde is surprising. The first 2 months, there might be some surprises there. Anything connected to home, place of living, relationships with parents, extended family. But actually the second part of the year, even if Mars stressed you psychologically, emotionally somehow, the first 3-4 months while it was in your 4th house, or created some crisis or chaos there, don't worry, because from June, then for a year, June 2025 till July 2026, Jupiter will enter your 4th house right after Mars leaves it. And Jupiter will heal everything there. If there was some emotional pain from family, from disruptions in your family life, from disruptions of where you live, or some damages to home, property, real estate, Jupiter will heal all of this. Jupiter can help you from the middle of the year till the middle of 2026 to find your place that you call home, to find a place where you feel belong, to find where your soul feels at peace, to find inner peace, even if it sometimes is not outer, that you find the right home, the right place. But this as well, you can have gains from real estate, find the right property for you, get into gardening, connect to family members much more, have healing there, have liberation of pent up painful emotions of any sort, start family, add a new member to the family, improve your environment and the place you live in, and so on. So first Mars a bit tests us here, makes us do some changes, then Jupiter comes and brings blessings for a year in this fourth house. Then the other important planet that we always have to look at is Saturn. Where is Saturn? It's where the hard lessons are for us. Saturn in this case is pretty much 9 months out of 12 is in your 12th house. So the majority of the year, 12th house is the endings before it moves into your sign. So you're weeding out weeds. You're removing the weeds because you're just ending right now. 2025 is the last time a 27-year-old cycle, 28-year-old cycle. So think back sometimes in the middle of the 90s, if you remember that, or a bit later 90s as well. Something started in your life that is ending probably now. Maybe some karmic debt that you've been carrying. Maybe something else, or maybe something that has been a big trouble or burden will end for you now. And Saturn in the 12th house is fantastic here to let go of addictions, to let go of self-sabotaging behaviors, to let go of the past. If you don't willingly release the past and you're ready for it, believe me, so many planets are helping you with this. The South, the North Node, Neptune there. Venus and Mercury will be retrograde in your 12th house in March, February, March, April as well. Something big is happening in March and April for all of us, for Aries, but for you it's like a big flushing down of the past, a big goodbye somehow, separation with the past, separation with who you were before, with who you identify with. So there might be some losses if you're not willingly decided to let go of things. They might be yanked out of you. You might have to say some goodbyes, but it's okay because it's long time overview. And when this 12th house of ending, separations, expenses as well, and releasing is activated, believe me, it's the high octave of the 12th house is freedom, liberation. It's called Moksha house. Moksha house. And so is the 4th house. You see, there's strong activations for areas of Moksha houses. Something in 2025 is freeing you. Moksha means liberation, to be freed from the attachments to the world, to be free from the attachments of the past. So it allows your soul to soar in some way. It might feel like external losses sometimes, saying goodbye to part of your life that was always there, part of you, but it's your soul is starting to soar above. Your soul is starting to feel freer and lighter. So even if there are losses, no, this is so. It's a clean slate because for 3 months this year, June, July, and August, Saturn and Neptune also move into your first house, Aries, which is only for 3 months this year, and Neptune for 6 months. But from 2026, they come in full force. Saturn entering your sign is huge. Happens only once every 28 years. New karmic cycle begins for you. That's why you're ending the old karmic cycle. That's why many old things will leave. Also things that you don't want anymore, that are chaining you, that are putting you in prison. But big part of the year 2025, you might still feel you're not certain where you're going because Saturn is only for 2-3 months in your first house when it gives you the clarity in the direction. The majority is in your 12th house where you're still ending things. You know something new is coming. You're not quite certain yet. You're kind of like suspended, like in midair a little bit, there areas in 2025 because you're ending and things but for 3 months you get a glimpse what are the new beginnings that are coming to you, especially the early born areas, those that are March areas, those that are the first 0 to 5 degrees. They would feel those powerful new beginnings, the start of the new chapter already from 2025. And they are areas. When Saturn enters the summer, you would feel June, July, and August, all areas probably, you would feel like a tightening. You'd feel like you become more gathered together. You become more like Saturn wants to make you over the next 3 years like a Shaolin monk because it's there with Neptune, spiritual planet. Saturn is about discipline in Aries, which is physical. So I would advise Aries, if they can do some weightlifting over the next 3 years, start doing it, or some routine, create new routines, because Saturn is about building your body, if it's your ascendant, from scratch. If it's your moon, a new personal life from scratch. And emotions, if it's your sun, even your career direction and goals. But Saturn will ask you to sort out your priorities over the next 2-3 years, and to see what is truly important for you, because you have a sense of time is running out, I'm getting old, or life is not, I'm not forever, I'm not infinite. This is the energy that Saturn brings, this energy of feeling your limitations and what your possibilities are, and then sorting out what your priorities are so you can focus on the most important. Many times people start working out during Saturn in their sign. They start powerful new beginnings, they start new careers, they start new chapters in their life, they get rid of a lot of old things and introduce new things. But Saturn brings you self-control, self-discipline, and actually Aries would enjoy that, even though Saturn is a bit harsh, because North Node has been in your Aries for a year and a half, and North Node is a bit wild. It's ambitious, but Saturn is the one that can materialize whatever the North Node seeded. And Saturn is there with Neptune. Neptune will be there 14 years. Neptune will spiritualize you in some way. Neptune will refine you. Neptune will connect you to the higher dimensions of the world, like refined music, spiritual inspiration, and so on. But we'll speak about that in the extended video, because also Uranus is changing signs, Neptune is changing. That's so much to speak about, but I just want to focus this year in particular. So the first few degrees only will feel this disciplining of Saturn, this getting serious and getting down to work, and no more time to waste, and cutting off all the frills of your life, really making it elegant, streamlining it, creating a really positive or healthy routine. This is what Saturn usually demands. And Saturn will make you get organized, Aries, especially over the next 3 years. Maybe not all Aries will feel it in 2025. They would feel a lot of the Saturn in the 12th house, where things are still dissolving and being cleaned up. But the early Aries, as I said, and maybe some later Aries again will start feeling it because it's already in their sign. But there will be Saturn will discipline you strongly, because Saturn is the ruler of the 10th house. Either some authority will discipline you, or your own inner authority will self-discipline you towards matters of career, responsibility, worldly duties, and towards matters of what you have to contribute to the world, because it's also the ruler of the 11th house, towards your long-term goals. And dreams. What are they? What have they been? Saturn will say, no more time to wasting. It's serious now. And if it's now or never, and it will give you this really serious slant of mind and long-term focus on, as I said, gainfulness, your goals, your ambitions. These are good houses that Saturn rules. Yeah, Aries, that's the big focus. Remember, Jupiter in your 4th house will bless you from family matters from the middle of the year. The first part of the year till June, Jupiter is in your 3rd house. So it's allowing you and pushing you to make contacts, connections. If you're a business person, that's very useful time, the first 5-6 months while Jupiter is in your 3rd house. This is creating contacts. This is improving connectivity, building websites that Jupiter allows you to do, building sales strategies, marketing, advertising. Jupiter in the 3rd is fantastic for all of those. Any kind of written, spoken project that you might have with Jupiter in the 3rd house, you are blessed. It will happen. Whether it's a blog, vlog, media, any media work, any written work, there might be more abundant, or learning something new. Jupiter really blesses you the first 6 months to learn some new skill, or to gain from your skills that you exist, to make contacts and friendships. Jupiter in the 3rd, in the first part of the year, is very good, especially in your local environment. Get to know the local moms, like I did with Jupiter in the 3rd house. Get to know your local neighbors. Jupiter will improve your relationships with siblings, with relatives, with neighbors, with teammates, workmates, people in your environment. People like that will be helpful for you and can embrace you or push you and help you in some way with your goals and directions. Plus Jupiter in the 3rd allows for a lot more traveling. And then when it moves to the 4th, we talked about it from June onwards, it's about more family, inner happiness, place of living, and so on. But if you want to hear the extended version where I speak about the Saturn, Neptune, Uranus sextile, how it will affect you over the next 5 years, plus what it means to have Uranus in your 3rd, Pluto, and I put them all together. you can join me. But yes, Aries, oh, Saturn in angular house and Jupiter, this is a year, especially 2026 after that, where the wheel of fortune turns for you. Big noticeable changes, because when Saturn and Jupiter are both on an angle, like you're gonna have this year for 3-4 months as well, this is when things really start changing. Until now, before that, Saturn and Jupiter were in houses for you that are not angular, but falling houses of things, preparatory period. And the launch is when Saturn and Jupiter both enter angles from your sign. And that's for some of you already this year. Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising 2025. Taurus, this year, especially the first 3-4 months, the focus is on Mars, because it's staying very long in your third house, actually supporting you even while it's retrograde. The only problems you might have to deal with, though, the first 2 to 3 months is, for example, problems in relationships with siblings, with relatives, because Mars is a bit of an argumentative planet and it's retrograde there till almost the end of February. You might have to be sorting out matters in regards to some documents, some papers as well, anything to do to administrative work, to mental concentration work, where Mars requires a lot of more of your focus and concentration. You might be dealing with some matters regarding vehicles, transportation, fixing, repairing, changing, I don't know, or electronic devices, communication devices. And if there is some broken communications between you and relatives, team workers, whatever, Mars will escalate that and show you where the problem is, and he'll ask you to reconsider and change something. Plus, you might remove certain people from your life with Mars retrograde in the third house, which is a social house, especially those that are in your immediate environment. You might rethink your immediate environment. It might change in some way. Sometimes because of relocation, sometimes because you're like, I don't want this energy around me, or some people just leaving your life there, whether it's your neighbors, siblings, whatever. Just be careful not to enter into conflict with such people. But you can get a lot of work done the first 3-4 months connected to mental projects, media, marketing, sales, business projects. Oh yeah. That's what Mars in the third house wants to be dealing with. Or learning some skill that requires you extra efforts, concentration, or maybe working on some website that you're redoing it, fixing it, changing it the first 3-4 months on some skill, working on some other third house rule skills or projects, sales, business, maybe multiple. If they're contracts or agreements, especially the first 2 months of the year, they might be more delayed. They have to be reworked in some way. But after that, Mars starts moving directly and you get much better results. So this is what Mars is dealing in the third house, maybe short trips as well, the first 3-4 months. But after that, from the second part of the year, from June onwards, Jupiter enters there for a year in your third house. So if there was any crisis in your relationships with siblings, relatives, it all gets healed from June 2025 to June 2026. Also, Jupiter there in your third house from the second part of the year will definitely help you expand your social circle, improve relationships with siblings, with relatives, get closer with such people, get better neighbors than usual, or get really much more involved in the life, communal, social life around you, much more interested in going out, connecting with others. It's very positive for anyone who is in business, in sales, who is in any kind of marketing, advertising, in making contacts with if you want to attract more clients, if you want to have better strategy or business plan, or if you want to improve your business in some way and business relations, Jupiter in the third house is the year for you from the middle of 2025 to the middle of 2026. If you want to also have a better vehicle to travel more, again, the doors for this open from the middle of the year, plus learning new skills. Jupiter is fun. It comes so naturally to you, reading more, learning new skills, new people entering your life, becoming more social. All of this is coming for you, Taurus, from the second part of the year. But the first part of the year, Mars is already working on those third house topics, but they're most stressful. Anything third house, communication, devices, transportation, social contacts with others, business, marketing, learning skills, it's more stressful, requires more focus, some corrections. But well, the second part of the day, it's all perfect after that. I'm having Jupiter in the third house now. I'm enjoying it so much from my sun. I made so much more contacts. So second part will be a lot more fun. But the first part till June, Jupiter, the planet of expansion, is in your second house. So if you're Taurus, especially Taurus rising, to lesser degree sun or moon, you can see increase the first 5 months of the year of your finances. Increase because Jupiter tends to expand the income, but also the spending. It's possible. Plus, Jupiter can improve your family situation in some way in the second house, can allow you to store more, to buy things that you consider that are more valuable, allows you to enjoy more the foods, the five senses, anything that you consider luxury and pleasurable, you get more of it. But the most main thing, people, and value, you start feeling more valuable. You might rise your prices. Because of that, you might find an alternative income level, increase it in some way, because your self-worth increases. So you're trusting yourself that you can generate that you can self-sustain no matter what the circumstances is increasing. And because of your trust in your own talents is increasing, and even learning of such talents, and you're learning to make money. Jupiter brings wisdom, knowledge, learning about that. So this is what you do the first part of the year. And the third and the second part, as I said, Jupiter in the third house, more it's about business, growing up, connecting to the right clients if you want, expanding skills and so on. The other big event, Taurus, is that Saturn, wherever Saturn is, there is a big focus for us, because that's where is the hard work we do. And for you, most of 2025, the 9 months out of 12, Saturn is in your 11th house, which is a natural house for Saturn. Actually, there's a lot of activity in that 11th house, which is, again, just like the third house, a social house. So you as a Taurus, there's something very important happening in your social environment. The people that you're surrounded with. Saturn, Mars first rethinks them. Then Saturn is rethinking your larger circle, your networks. 11th house is also business house. Your clients is the 11th house. Your networking ability, how many people you're connected with. But you're doing something important with all those social contacts, networking possibility, people in your life. Some friends might leave, new can come, but they're more serious if new one comes. They're more Saturnian nature, more work-related ones, or a lot of your social contacts can be connected in 2025 to who can you not like use, but who is useful for you and who you're useful for, rather than wasting your time just hanging around. So there's some kind of a honing, of trimming of your social environment and focusing on who are the right clients for you. Let's not waste time for ones that are not, just connect to the right ones. But 11th house is house of gains. There is something here again that we see this theme, Jupiter in the second of money, Saturn in the 11th of house of gains that you're working on seriously. And Saturn is, you're putting this year, you're dedicating your efforts to maybe to go towards a long-term goal, life dream of yours, because the 11th house is this house of what is your biggest dream, long-term goal. And Saturn makes you work gradually towards it. And there might not be as much fun time to enjoy social and so on all the time. But because you're serious, your head is serious there, trying to achieve some long-term dream and goal of yours. Saturn loves to be in the 11th house because it makes you serious towards achieving that. And eventually, by the end of the year, by 2026, when Saturn leaves, you might have increased your income, your profitability, your marketability, and your achieved some goal or dream or title or honor, like PhD or something else in your life. But that's a lot where the focus is in the 11th, and March, April, and May. Huge focus on this 11th house. Maybe some friends coming from the past as well, connecting with you, offering some new opportunities, or you deciding who you want to be in your life and then working on some big project or something, because 11th house is big projects. not just for yourself, maybe usually businesses and so on. So that's pretty much it, guys. I can talk to you a lot more about Neptune and Saturn moving into your 12th house as well, but it's just going to be for 2-3 months with Saturn. And with Neptune, just it's going to be there 14 years. I speak way more in depth about Saturn and Neptune in the 12th house, which in my 2025 videos I spend like an hour on this new influences there, but because you're not gonna feel them too much this year yet, Saturn is just 3 months there, it's 12 hours about wrapping things up, a lot of endings. I'll explain it. It's in my longer video. So yeah, focus on this gainability, profitability, and as I said, there is huge focus for you on social contacts. Build bridges this year, burn some old ones that are just wasting your time, because Saturn and Mars are unapologetic if there are such people in your life. And you'll be blessed when Jupiter enters the 3rd house and start trining the 11th house with the right people, that will help you, and the right relationships, friendships as well. Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising 2025. Gemini, from the beginning of the year till June, Jupiter continues to be in your sign. This is once in 12-year blessings, because Jupiter is the planet of growth, abundance, new ideas. They'll be coming to you. You will start something this year up till June that will be a source of blessing for you over the next 12 years. You might not immediately see the results of it, but the seeds will be planted now. It might be a new idea, it might be a new inspiration of some sort, new opportunity that comes to you. It might be about studying, learning, because Jupiter is connected to knowledge. It might be Jupiter is connected to wealth as well. It might be connected to your career, because Jupiter rules your 10th house, something that you are here to contribute, your mission in life, that you get clarity. It will get clarified in your head. What is it that you are here to do? You start getting the answers and you'll do the first steps in that direction. But whatever it is that you start now, this opportunity, it will be a source of growth for the next 12 years till Jupiter comes back to you again, or a source of joy, because the higher meaning of Jupiter is something that gives you meaning, purpose, and joy in life. And it is going to be connected to your career, because Jupiter rules the 10th house, or connected even to relationships. Important people can appear in your life that enter Jupiter, the ruler of the 7th, in your sign. They find you, they come to you, they in some way they open doors for you that will be unfolding, or even a relationship that might start that will be a source of growth and opportunity for you for the next 12 years almost. So don't miss that opportunity. Those ideas that come to you, those doors that open to you, know that they're for good, and know that even if you don't see immediately results, they'll keep growing over the years. So yes, this blissful, fruitful Jupiter is very fruitful, is very fertile as well as energy, because, for some of you who are trying, that might be a sign as well. Opportunities, if it's your sun in Gemini, it might be in regards to your career, to growth as well. If it's your moon in Gemini, it might be those opportunities and blessings in your personal life, in your relationships as well, in your family life. If it's your ascendant, everything that I talked about till now is relevant for you. But at the same time, simultaneously, while Jupiter is in your sign, Mars is retrograde, then direct in your 2nd house, almost till the middle of April. The first 4 months, almost, Mars is working here in your 2nd house. And it means that you might be working hard on fixing, correcting, improving something to do with your financial situations. Yes, there might be some crisis connected to finances, to money, to valuables, but you're also, Mars is a very motivated planet that puts a lot of energy wherever it goes to fix, to improve, to prepare something for you that will be a source of financial improvement as well for a long time ahead. And even and sometimes Mars in the 2nd house, be careful with the teeth. They might need some teeth. 2nd house rules the teeth, rules one of the eyes or the eyesight as well. There might be some corrections there, something that you're going through. Also, how you eat. Mars can help you have willpower, because Mars is the planet of willpower, to change your eating habits in some way, to correct, to fix something in regards to what you put in your body. But a lot of focus here on finances, resources, and even if it's difficult the first 3-4 months, don't worry, because from June, Mars leaves this second house and Jupiter enters it. And Jupiter is extremely strong in Cancer, the house of money for you. Jupiter is exalted there. So even, or if you were preparing something financially, working on changing something there, on your self-value, on your material security, and it was the hard work is the first 4 months, let's say. After that, from June, you start getting the rewards. So from June 2025 till June 2026, you might grow financially into more abundance. You can get the right ideas that will create more security for you. You can gain more confidence in your ability to sustain yourself independently of others, in your talents. Second house is our talents, is our resources. Your resources will grow, whether they are material or other kind of resources like talents that you have that will help you sustain yourself. This is what Jupiter will fructify, will make it grow from the second part of the year, will make you feel more confident in your ability to create abundance in your life. Some opportunities will appear there. First is the new ideas, then is when Jupiter moves into the second house, is you materializing them, making them, because second house is a tangible house where you consolidating those new ideas that came when Jupiter was in the first house. So yeah, Jupiter will be doing this blessing after that, and it can help you heal your relationships with food as well. Some people have an unhealthy relationship with food. Maybe Mars was dismantling the old relationship before that while it's in your second house, making you realize where the issues is, and Jupiter after that can help you heal there and have a healthier relationship with it. And look at that. Most of the year, Saturn is staying in your 10th house, 9 months out of 12. Saturn is the other most important planet to look at what we have to focus on. And the 10th house is another house, earth house as we call it. House of material, to make the practical side of life, to arrange your habits, routines, material circumstances in life, your career. Mostly the 10th house is career, second house is money, the most superficial level of it. So you see this whole year, there's a lot of focus, the second house, to be materially stable, secure, to create new sources, and Saturn to work really hard towards some goal of yours, towards some career. And Saturn can make you really change if you are not the right career path, to change it towards something that is more meaningful and that you're more aligned to. And especially around February, March, April, we're going to have so many planets there in your 10th house. Something very important those 3 months is happening in your career. For some of you might be changing a career. For others might be some kind of a peak, receiving awards, getting promotion, or some kind of a big change there where you're heading towards, or concentrated energy to achieve some career goals, some high position. And I've seen people when they have Saturn in the 10th house, if they've been working hard till now, if they've been in the right field, usually this is when they get like some of the highest achievement there, some of the highest recognition, but it comes with a lot more responsibility. It doesn't just come like, oh, rewards, nothing more. No, but if you get to a higher position with Saturn in the 10th house, with more authority, it gives you more authority, more control. You're restructuring something there with your career. But it will come with more personal authority for you and more responsibility. Plus, there might be some important authority figure in your life that is there for most of 2025, that is pushing you, that is trying to get the best out of you, to direct you in the right direction. And 10th house is also father figures, institutions, authority figures. There might be some very important developments and decisions in your life connected to those matters. So you see, all of the focus is very much connected most of the year. And Saturn dips for 3 months only into your 11th house, where it feels also very comfortable, which will help you work on long-term goals for the next 2, 3, 4 years ahead while Saturn is there, but only for 2-3 months this year. Goes into the 11th house. It will make you reconsider who your friendships are, who is in your life, to remove people that are time wasters, to leave only people that are useful for you in some way. but the majority of the time Saturn is here, and especially the last 15 degrees Gemini, they feel Saturn this year very strongly. From 15 till 30 degrees, they're the ones that really have to be more organized, more serious, more dedicated, no cutting corners. And the North Node will be in your 10th house. It's really helping you reach those high goals there that you want. Find or implement the mission, something that is part of your mission in your life, or even reaching high positions in some sort. But you see, a big part of the year, Jupiter is on an angle, Saturn is on an angle from your sign. This is when the very big events in life happen, big, like the turning of the wheel of fortune. And it's with personal efforts, but it's like a peak period for you now, guys. Peak period to manifest on a personal level what you contribute to the world. So very, very important year for Gemini. After that, it becomes easier it becomes financially, materially more and more easy from the second part of the year, where you see Saturn there, Jupiter there. You'll be really working on materially strengthening yourself and your routines, your circumstances in life, the external circumstances. These are earth houses. The earthiness is what is the stability in life. And the other big event is that Uranus is entering your sign, and only for 3 or 4 months this year. Only the first 2-3 degrees of Gemini will feel it. But after that, till 2032, Uranus will be in your sign. This is the huge awakening of Gemini. You would love Uranus, Gemini. You have this energy that jives really well with Uranus, is not going to be so disruptive for you as it might be for other signs that don't like changing so much. But for you, it will be like a fast elevation in the world, like a fast jump forward into new directions. So for me, it's starting a new chapter in your life. And the energy will be electrifying for the next 7-8 years for you. You'd be full of innovations for 7-8 years ago. You'd be full of new ideas. Uranus gives new ideas, brilliant ideas, and you'll be very much aligned to the new trends. Anything, whether it's new technologies, new trends in social media, new trends in fashion, whatever it is in the collective. Uranus rules the social trends overall. You'd be so in touch with them. You'll be the one to grab that train first. And I speak a lot more about Uranus in your sign in my 2025 extended videos, 2.5 hours, and about Neptune in your 11th house. Neptune starts helping you from this year. Uranus starts awakening you to opportunities you never thought existed, to something that is very different. You never thought over the next 7-8 years, some of you would find yourself in a situation, in a life, that you never thought was possible for you, that you never even envisioned. Uranus will be, but it's exciting. You'd enjoy that, exhilarating ride. Check out my 2025 videos for the full picture. The Sun, Moon, Rising 2025. Cancer. The year starts with Mars full force in your sign, retrograde, and it's going to be there the first 4 months of the year. So Mars is the most important influence for you till the middle of April. And Mars is a very motivating, organizing energy. It's like the general of the horoscope. You're asked to mobilize your whole strength towards some goal, towards fixing or improving something in your life. And especially those Cancers that are from 15 till 30 degrees, the last 15 degrees of Cancer will feel the mobilizing energy of Mars very strongly. The first couple of months, Mars is retrograde, so you might be changing something in a big way in your life that requires you consistent willpower and dedication. So if it's your ascendant, it might be something to do with your health that you are sometimes forced to do if you're not doing it willingly, like exercise, which is the high octave of Mars, of healthier routines. Your health might force you in that direction, that and you have to be a bit more careful about anything Mars related with your health, which is cuts, bruises, burnings, or inflammatory conditions, or acute conditions that come quickly acute. But Mars will ask you to really fix those things, to really put them in order, as if it's your health, or if it's your sun there in Cancer, it's very much connected to your career as well. Restructuring something there, fixing, changing, redoing something there, putting extra energy, even if there are delays, but you'll see very positive results after that. If it's your moon sign in Cancer, it might hit more your relationships, your personal life, your personal life, family life, for example, that Mars is making some big changes there. That Mars is a fixer-upper, that you're changing in some way. And Mars rules your 10th house, being in your first house for so long, being in your sign. It's very much connected about your mission in life, your career, dealing with authority figures, with institutions of some sort the first 3 to 4 months, or if your own authority figure, if you have your own business, you might be very busy with something career related there. And with your duties and responsibilities worldly that you have to redo, or you have to really mobilize yourself to make some change, some initiative. Or you might be going through some fight of some sort, but this fight doesn't necessarily have to be something negative. You might be fighting with your own inner inclinations, for example, and Mars gives you this more general-like, soldier-like ability and discipline in some way. And another house Mars rules is the 5th house. It might be connected also to your love life, that you're making some changes those first 3-4 months of the year, or with your children, that you have to be more mobilized, you change something, more organized there to fix her up or again. All right, this is Mars. Like it's really one of the most important influences for you this year. But I have very good news, because even if Mars created some the first 4 months, 4 months, some stresses there, even on the physical level, or with career, or with like rearranging your whole life in some way, mobilizing your energy and so on. Jupiter enters from June your sign, enters it, then will stay for 1 year. So Mars is like almost like Mars was the demolition crew that came. Everything that's not going well, you become aware of it, you break it down, you start building it up, and then Jupiter comes and says, I will fructify it, I will make it grow, I will make those new beginnings in your life be blissful. When from June 2025 till June 2026, Jupiter is in your sign. This is when you feel the energy lifting up for you so much. And Jupiter reaches up to the 25th degree in 2025. So the last 5 degrees of Cancer might not feel it yet in 2025, but there's this abundance and blissfulness of Jupiter. Something enters your life, something new, that will stay in your life for the next 12 years, or it will be growing over the next 12 years. It might be new ideas, it might be new inspiration, new purpose, new meaning that gives you the reason to wake up, that awakens you, that might be improvement of your health. If there was some health issue before that with Mars there, it can be really healing of the body, healing of the mind, with if the sun is there, healing of the heart, if the moon is in Cancer. Like Jupiter not repairs, but heals everything and gives you new opportunities, new higher perspective to look at. Jupiter makes you also more fertile, just know. So sometimes Jupiter rules children as well. Jupiter rules, and it brings you travel. Jupiter rules in 9th house from the second part of the year till the middle of 2026. There can be opportunities for you to travel, foreign places, living, also opportunities to more luck, to be definitely more lucky, to study something. 9th house is higher knowledge, studying, but something that gives you meaning, purpose, that gives you joy. Jupiter is the planet of joy, and the biggest source of joy is knowledge and children sometimes. And Jupiter also rules your 6th house. The opportunities that come to you might be definitely connected to improving your health or improving your work. That's one of the houses of work. But that's from the second part of the year. So the blessings start pouring from June onwards. But the first part of the year till June, Jupiter is in your 12th house. So there is still more like about finishing things, letting go of unhealthy habits, for example, allowing you the first 6 months to giving you access as well to foreign countries. That's a 12th house. Jupiter can allow someone, if they want to live foreign place or whatever, Also, it's amazing for spiritual studies, for introspection, for healing the soul the first 5 months of the year. Because after that, when Jupiter enters your first house, is action time. And that's why the soul first needs to be healed, and inspiration comes when Jupiter is in the 12th house. You can get advice in your dreams from departed loved ones, from psychics, from astrologers. You can gain a lot from such spiritual and usually intangible sources. They and your inner self is very rich. Your inner world is very rich during this period. But then the action time comes. Of course, you still have action times with Mars in your first house. So you're constantly activated this year, Cancers. There is non-stop. First, Mars is there, while Jupiter is giving you here in the 12th house ability, maybe improving your sleep, maybe ability to let go of unhealthy habits, maybe spiritual support in enhancing your connection to higher power, to God. And then Mars leaves, Jupiter comes, and all those inspiration that you downloaded from the invisible world, you start manifesting it into the real world. And you'd feel so uplifted from June onwards. You'd feel positive, excited. You'd feel, but not in a nervous way. Jupiter makes you in this very Zen way that you feel motivated, start believing in yourself, trusting yourself, new opportunities, new luck comes to you. So very, very blessed the second part of the year. The first one is a bit harder with Mars. And the whole part of the year, Saturn, for 9 months out of 12, is in your 9th house, making a trine to Cancer, helping. Saturn is helping Cancer, whatever you start to be long-term, whatever you start, even if it demands hard work, again, for you have the higher perspective of why you're doing it. And Saturn's been in your 9th house for already a couple of years. It has the last year, 2025. And Saturn is helping. Mars was the difficult planet for you. I spoke about it, but Saturn is stabilizing you here. And Saturn in the 9th house is good most of the year to sort out anything to do to foreign status. If you want to relocate papers, documents, to work on this, to get it done. 9th house is also connected to law and order, any kind of legal issues you might be working through there. There's a lot of focus on this 9th house, especially February, March, and April. We have like a conglomeration of planets in your 9th house. So it might be a period you're either traveling to faraway place, connecting with people to faraway places, or studying something. 9th house is higher knowledge, some degrees some of you might do, or learning something that is long-term that you can implement, or pre-qualifying in some way. Because Saturn is hard work. 9th house is knowledge. So this is where you're doing the hard work. It's also changing your belief systems in a powerful way. And yes, there can be some kind of a crisis of faith when Saturn is in the 9th house, doubting if the things you've always believed are true, if reality is what you thought it is. That's why sometimes Saturn in the 9th can have a bit of a depressing influence, despite of its trine, because it touches on very existential questions. What is the purpose of life? I've always believed in this or that, or in science, or in astrology, or in God. Some people might doubt God. Some people might doubt, if they've always believed astrology, the astrology. Some people might doubt the political party they've always been affiliated with. Whatever your beliefs are, or you thought reality was, is dismantling and being restructured and reorganized to be more realistic, more true. Saturn removes all the bells and whistles and frills and shows you the core bare reality of what things are. So it's something big here connected to this 9th house. But somehow Cancer is very protected the second part of the year. And Saturn dips into your 10th house for 3 months, Neptune for 6 months. Only the very early Cancers, the first 3-4 degrees Cancers, will feel the Saturn very strongly, but there is over the next 2-3 years, over the next 3 years for sure, Saturn in your 10th house, just 3 months in 2025, but the whole 2026, the whole 2027, and part of 2028, Saturn will be in your 10th house, so will Neptune. And Saturn and Neptune meet this year at 0 degree Aries in your 10th house. So Cancer will be called to do something big for the world or to find their true purpose in life. The 10th house is what is your mission in life? What is the highest thing you can achieve in this lifetime? What is your grand work, your big opus, as they call it? And it's time for you to find it out if you haven't. Or it's time for you to materialize it. Saturn is to materialize something, and some new ideals will appear, some new inspirations, Neptune, which you over the next years will be asked to put into tangible reality. Some Cancers might be asked to be leaders of some sort in their community or in their own business or in the whole world in some way, because Saturn-Neptune conjunction in 25 and 26 is happening in your 10th house, Cancer. You'll have the biggest responsibility. This conjunction opens a period of 35 years. It's a very big period. So some seeds will be planted in 25 and 26 for you, Cancers, that will ask you to embody some ideal through your work, through your career, through your mission, in the world, some new vision that you'll have to structure, and even some old careers or directions in life will definitely fall off while you'll see what your true mission is over the next couple of years. And you'll be called for something like a brand new beginning, something new there that you'll fulfill in a very public way, noticeable to others. And there's a lot more other things. Uranus is entering your 11th house. Neptune in your 10th. I speak about each of those planets for 10-15 minutes in my extended video, what it means for many years ahead and how you can utilize it the best way. But just remember that this year some of the biggest influences are in your 9th and 1st house. These are Dharma houses, who you are, self houses. Dharma is the path that you are, the Dharma, the path your soul wants to walk in that will give it most fulfillment. So you're upgrading yourself this year. You're becoming more clear about the future. 9th house is the future. Your highest ideals and goals there as well is the 9th house. And you're quantifying, qualifying, realizing what they are, what your inner strengths are, and what your mission and meaning in life is somehow. So it's a fantastic time to study, to learn, to upgrade yourself, self-improvement of any sort. And also you will be guided this year to discover the path of joy, what brings you joy and meaning in life. And then you, with the planets moving after that to Earth houses in 26, 27, you start practically implementing it. But now are the inspirations. These are houses of inspiration. 1st, 9th, where God, you connect with the high vibrations of God, of your higher self, if you want to call it. And you get aligned, your lower self to your higher self, to realize the mission, the vision for you, the path you're walking on. And you're choosing this path and you're committing to it. And then over the next years ahead, you'll be implementing it materially. Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising 2025. Leo, this year there is a big focus on the so-called moksha or emotional houses. The 8th house will be lit this year. Saturn, Neptune there, big part of the year. Venus, Mercury retrograde. The North Node is entering your 8th house, not the easiest of houses. And Mars, the first 4 months of the year, is retrograde and direct in your 12th house, another house, Moksha house. So feelings will be very strong for you. Your inner world will be very rich. And you might think like nothing is happening externally so much. You're not seeing big changes there. But the true alchemy and miracle is happening on the soul level. These are astral houses. So there is almost like a cleaning process happening there in your subconscious. 8th house is buried traumas, 12th house is past lifetimes, even memories. Anything from, there might be more introspective energy towards you at moments this year. So don't beat yourself up if you don't feel like, oh, I'm like center stage and everything is kind of on the material level. No, it's happening on the spiritual level, the true magic. There can be some spiritual awakenings for Leos this period. People that are connected to psychology, to astrology, to self-introspection, they'll have an incredibly useful time, incredibly powerful time. If you're working with a psychologist, with a counselor, if you're just even not necessarily, it can be happening naturally in your dream life, it can be happening in your imaginative life, that you are healing yourself. These are healing houses. They're called moksha. Mars is there, Saturn is there most of the year, as I said, the North Node. Moksha houses is about liberation and disconnecting from material attachments. So sometimes there's some reversals and losses that happen. Don't want to scare you, but it is possible that there's certain aspect of your previous life that you were very attached to. It's taken away from you, or you leave it behind. But that's because it wants, these planets in these liberation houses, those emotional houses, want to free your soul from the attachment to what is. And the more spiritual houses to turn within, to seek for the mystical, the intangible in some way. They're fantastic to study anything connected to astrology or human design or psychology, or about the secrets of life, or to do research if you're more academically minded person. The 8th and 12th houses, where all the action is happening, is connected to studying, to research, to digging deep. Whether you're exploring your traumas or whether you're studying science and microbiology, this is all research and digging within an introspection. And there is an element of a bit of an alone time that you need to spend more to work through those energies. But the ultimate goal of all those planets in your emotional houses is to clean up the astral, to clean up the old, all the feelings that you've generated from past lifetimes, whether it's the 12th house or traumas. Bring them to the surface, experience them, release them. This is the meaning of those houses. Release them, and it can feel intense at moments, but ultimately it's cleaning up the astral body so it can feel much lighter, like a feather, not held down by the fetters of the past and the festering feelings of pain. So there is a lot of work about healing, forgiving, letting go, releasing certain aspects of your life. Mars, especially the first 4 months of the year, is really helping you let go of and rethink some self-sabotaging behaviors. It can be addictions. Everyone has some addictions. For some it's food, for others it's something emotional, for others it's substances. Mars there can really help you put your energy to fix such kind of stuff. And Mars is fixer-upper, to change it, to fix it in some way. Also, Mars in the first 4 months in your 12th house can also mean that you're working behind the scenes on something, preparing, fixing something, redoing it a few times, but it's mostly fixing your psychology, your mental. And there is a lot about mental health that is being reworked in your, that is trying to push you to the next level and to get you out of the hole. Sometimes people can enter into holes. I'm not saying if you're Leo you are, but it's these two planets, Saturn, Mars, Neptune. They're trying to dig you out of some psychological hole this year, trying to help you bring to the surface what hasn't been reworked. Plus, Mars in the 12th house can mean that you have some dealings with abroad the first 3-4 months, that you're doing something behind the scenes as well. Worst case scenario, sometimes one can feel a bit more tired with Mars is in the 12th house for a long time, or a little bit that internal, the action is on the internal, in your sleep, dream world, it can be very busy and so on, rather than the external, behind the scenes. If you have someone who works in a lab, who is working, preparing some plan, but is still not putting it out to the world, especially the first 3-4 months. And Mars as well, there can indicate don't enter the first 3-4 months into hidden enemies. You might reveal them, some secrets. These two houses are houses of secrets. A lot of, anything that is hidden from you, whether it's your emotions that are self-sabotaging you and traumas, or whether it's someone else who is behind your back doing something wrong. You're discovering such things. It's not fun always, but you don't want such people around, you kind of all those conspiracies that might be happening behind you, decipher them. Plus, you're like an X-ray now. You're really attuned to if there's something wrong or something that is untoward happening in the world or in your personal life. You smell it out and you call it out and you cut it off. This is the power of those hidden houses. But people who are psychologists, in the mystical astrologers, this is very powerful insights for them and period of working with those energies. So a lot of internal work here, Leo. But don't worry, it's not just internal work. You have the first 5 months of the year. Jupiter, first 6 almost, is in your 11th house. This is the happiest house for Jupiter. Jupiter loves being in this 11th house. They call it in Western astrology the joy of Jupiter when it's there. So Jupiter will give you a lot of rewards. This is the house of rewards, material, social, recognition, financial as well. So somehow Jupiter is protecting you till June a lot to get, even to be financially well, to get recognition for something, to be more popular, to make more social contacts. So it's not just this introspection. There is a lot of social element to you the first 5 months of the year as well. You can make lifelong friendships now. Because I'm a Leo moon and I'm also feeling this energy since Jupiter entered our 11th house from the middle of 2025. I became way more social, 2024, way more social. I made a lot new friends. And when Jupiter is in the 11th house, the friendships you make, they might take 12 years, or contacts. It's not necessarily like buddy-buddy friendships. They might be contacts with others, networking in some way. And the people that you meet now till the middle of the year, they will be beneficial for you for the next 12 years. At some point, maybe in 2-3 years from now, or maybe immediately, they would introduce you to something, to some new opportunity, new ideas that you can do together, or they can be like a door for you to fulfilling some dream or long-term goal of yours. Like benefactors can appear as well for you. I remember every time Jupiter transits the 11th from Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, I meet some new people. And for example, 3 years ago, 4, when Jupiter was in my 11th, from the Ascendant, from the Sun, I met a group of 3 or 4 girls. And now that Jupiter is in the 11th from my Moon, with those girls, we're doing some amazing things, some amazing ideas. We're getting closer. And I know those will be friendships for life. So yes, open yourself to others as well while you're doing the internal work. Something comes to you from others. Plus, if you're in business, this is very beneficial the first 5 months. More clients, more public exposure, gaining more followers if you want, because that's, connecting with others. This is more ideas for gainfulness or large goal plans that you can implement. Or if you've been working on some long-term goal or plan of yours for some time, or starting now with Jupiter in the 11th, you'll be blessed when Jupiter is there. And from June, Jupiter moves into your 12th house. Mars is not there anymore. It's moving somewhere ahead. And whatever was happening on the subconscious, if there was some internal battle with your inner demons or sleep problems sometimes, Jupiter in the 12th house for 1 year from June 2025 to June 2026 will improve all of this. So for example, your sleep, if you have any sleep problems, will improve with Jupiter in the 12th. If some internal battles will be healed, there will be a lot of forgiveness. We come again, this 12th house gets activated. There will be forgiveness and healing if some secrets were unburied. There will be healing of that and letting go. Jupiter is allows us to be very forgiving when it's in the 12th house, to see from a much higher mystical perspective the bigger picture and to release the pain. A lot of psychological healing. And it stays there for a year. And also it gives you access to foreign countries. Very easy access to foreign countries. If you want to relocate somewhere or get citizenship or whatever, do it when Jupiter enters in your 11th house, not when 12th house, not when Mars is there the first 4 months, because that's more of a struggle there. But from June onwards, you get the green light for it. Also, you might have a much more powerful intuition than other times when Jupiter enters your 12th house. You might start seeing things, feeling things, and it will be right. It will be correct. And of course, Saturn most of the year stays in your 8th house. So it's oh yeah, and if you want to travel, Jupiter in the 12th house is wonderful, especially more exotic, faraway places. Or if you want to research and study something and go into deep kind of insights, a lot of deep insights come when Jupiter is in the 12th house. Wow, I have had my best astrology insights then, my biggest realizations in life. And it's almost like downloads. You download things when Jupiter is in the 12th. And there's like a connection with spirit guides, very likely. Or I always had the best readings with psychics that are life defining, because this is the knowledge that comes to you from the invisible worlds. And Jupiter there, blesses, illuminates. Jupiter illuminates the dark spots of your subconscious, your shadow self that you feared, or the unknown, or if you have some internal battles or mental health problems, start improving when Jupiter goes into the 11th. And you're easier to let go of old bad habits, addictive behaviors with ease. Jupiter is easy planet. While Saturn in your 8th house, you have to be very meticulous with your finances, because it's opposing the 2nd as well, Mars there, especially with taxes, with insurances, with inheritances. It implies sometimes that people have to do some work in regards to inheritance. In rare occasions, but it still can happen that someone passes away and you're dealing with such matters. But sometimes it's just that you need to tighten up the belt financially with your partner a little bit, and that's the last of Saturn in your 8th house. You've had it already for a year and a half to there, and you're starting to come out of that. Or maybe you're working extra hard in a partnership with another to increase or to stabilize finances. Or maybe your 8th house can be connected to your partner's finances and resources, that they are, or that you together say you're saving something for something with a partner. So you need to tighten a belt, because these are mutual finances with a partner together. Saturn sometimes can decrease the libido in the 8th house, can make it a bit more dry, but at the same time, it has an important job there to help us control our compulsions. So that's very good time for any compulsive behaviors to be under control, to confront those inner demons, as I said. And from the second part of the year, Jupiter helps a lot. There'll be a lot of pressure of your subconscious and your psyche when Jupiter enters your 12th house. And Saturn moves for 3 months into your 9th house, from where it will support you, Leo. But only the first 3-4 degrees Leo will feel it now, the very early Leos. But you can still feel the 9th house influence of Saturn in June, July, and August. And then Saturn comes back fully into 2026 into your 9th house. And that will be time to really dharmic house. You're moving from feelings to what is your mission in life, what is your purpose, the higher meaning, to some very high-minded topics when Saturn enters and when it leaves the 8th house, it feels much lighter psychologically and emotionally, because Saturn in the 8th house puts pressure on the astral body, because Saturn is the cleaner. It wants to clean the astral body of all the things that are gathered there. But when it moves to the 9th house and joins Neptune sometime in July, and then in February 2026, in the early degrees of your 9th house, Leos will be called, and that starts a new 35-year cycle of Saturn and Neptune. And you're the visionary for it, because it's happening in your 9th house of higher vision. You're the prophet of this new cultural and world order, because Saturn and Neptune, when they join together, always some kind of new world order comes. New ideals that are manifested into society through law, through the governments. And somehow, whatever new world order or new ideals are coming, you're the messenger, because 9th house is your higher house. 9th house is your house of downloading ideas, of seeing the bigger picture, seeing where things are going. So you'd be very much aligned to those new age time. So I think you'll be one of the signs that really thrives for many years ahead, because Saturn-Neptune conjunction is happening in your luckiest house. So the Saturn-Neptune will bring new inspirations to you, new vision for the future. You'll be really channeling God's ideas into the world, into your own personal life. So you start on a new journey. The 9th house, the house of journey. a new journey that is magical, that is getting you closer to God, that is getting you closer to your luck, ninth house, your dharma, the good things you deserve in life, that you've worked them out in a past lifetime, making you also become a more a person who is more moral. You'll be like the moral compass for others for years and years ahead. So some of you Leos over the next years, 3 or 4, not immediately in 25 necessarily, might be asked to be teachers, might be asked to be like a moral compass, or to be guides of others, to be mentors of others. You might find your mentor and guide sometime over the next 2-3 years with Saturn and Neptune there. You might find your higher calling. You might find your new direction to study something new that will bring meaning for you. So 26, 27, 28 might be years of intense studying because you found a new purpose, of intense dedication to some goal or ideal, or that you are almost like a channel for in some way. And also you might have a mission abroad, or connected to foreign people, connected to spirituality or teaching in some sort, mentoring, or to some international business or whatever. But this is what Leo, Saturn, Neptune, and there's a lot more stuff that I speak about Saturn, Neptune for you there. But it's in my 2025 extended video, and Uranus is starting to help. So Neptune starts helping Leo with the trine. Saturn starts helping Leo with the trine. Uranus starts helping Leo with the trine. This year, just for a few months, all those planets will dip there. But 2026, my God, is going to be your year, Leo, because then Jupiter will enter your sign, and then it's time to shine. And Uranus is fully into your 11th house, Neptune and Saturn in your 9th, all only positive aspects towards you. Only very helping to transform society, to transform and to awaken new sources of income, to be more gainful, to be more popular, to implement big ideas, and you'll be like the leading head there. But that's now it's kind of a bit more preparatory stage with all those 12, 8 houses influences where you're shading, healing psychologically, emotionally. You get a glimpse of the new ideas. When Saturn and Neptune move into Aries, you start feeling like, okay, something is forming here. I have a new inspiration. And then they dip back into your 8th house. But from 2026, all the planets come to help you together. Get ready. Your last year of a bit more resting, and then you're on. Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising 2025. Virgo, the year starts, especially the first 5 months, both Saturn and Jupiter are on angles from you. If this is you, look there like on the cross. When Saturn and Jupiter are on angles from your sign, this is a peak year for you, a peak year of activity. The angular houses are houses of activity, of some very important developments. This is fast year. It's not year slowly that sometimes you know how some years not much happens externally, mostly internally something. This is not like that for you, Virgos. Both giants. We always look for tangible predictions in what's happening in the externally for us through Saturn and Jupiter, and they're both on angles of action. One of the biggest changes for you this year will be happening through your relationships, through others. Saturn there almost 9 months out of 12. Just in the summer, it dips out of your 7th house, but it's been in your 7th house for 1.5, 2 years already. So you're familiar with this energy, and especially the later Virgo degrees, they'll feel Saturn this year stronger from around, I would say especially the last 15 degrees, but especially the last 10 degrees of Virgo from 20 till 30, Saturn is most active for them. But for all Virgo, Saturn is opposite you. So you might feel internal pressure from someone. Might be from your partner, might be from a business partner, might be from another figure in your life who is pushing you in some way to become a better version of yourself, or maybe from the public, from the feedback of others. And you might find them more critical. You might find them more demanding. You might find them less tolerable. But also this is how you react to others. So you might find yourself that you're like that. You're putting more boundaries to others. You're having more set rules for others. Because it's good. Neptune's been in your seventh house of others for, what is it, 14 years. Maybe you allowed too many things. Maybe people took you for a ride. Maybe you gave someone a finger, they took the whole hand. Maybe you were misled about others. Maybe you were longing and learning about or not seeing your partner properly. And now Saturn is bursting those bubbles so you can see the reality of others. So you can see maybe you're no longer gonna enable someone to do something. Maybe you see the reality about your partner. Maybe your partner gets more serious. Maybe your partner is going through some period of consolidation, discipline, or maybe you're disciplining others and saying, enough, this is the border. But some big, important events with relationships. Some might get married and further commit to another with Saturn there. Others might decide to end the relationship because they don't see, because they've decided to, they've decided Saturn is the planet of cleaning, of making something elegant. So if some person is taken away from your peace of mind, and Saturn puts the barrier. Or Saturn is in the 7th, is very good for business partnerships. So something you work together with someone. It's very good for working partnerships of some sort. And there can be a lot of focus on others. And through others might be like the instigator, the trigger for you to change. Especially February, March, and April are extremely important when it comes to the 7th house. There is a lot of pressure there because we're going to have Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde there, especially in the last 7-8 degrees of Virgo. Will feel it from, let's say, from 20 till 30. These are more critical times. The last 7-8 degrees, 22, 23 degrees of Virgo, because eclipses start happening. So we have February, March, and April, especially March, an eclipse in Virgo, in Pisces, in your 7th house at 24 degrees. We have Venus and Mercury retrograde in April at the last 7 degrees. We have Saturn there in the last 5 degrees. We have Neptune there in the last 5 degrees. And we have the North Node. So especially the last 7-8 degrees of Virgo, life-changing year. And it comes to you through others, or some kind of might be some struggle or opposition, or someone that's pushing you, or interaction with another that pushes you to a big change in life and some big decision that has to be made. But it can be very good change. Someone like a mirror can be there that pushes you. You have to, it's better if you do this or that, or but some big decision is being taken. The earlier Virgos somehow are out of it, It's still happening in the 7th house. They can still feel there the pressure, the excitement of changes. But somehow the later degrees are under most pressure. The last 7-8 degrees of Virgos, just so you remember, when 25 to 30 especially. But somehow it's the last time Saturn and Neptune this year will put pressure on you. The nodes is there, the North Node. And let me tell you something. When the nodes enter the sign of your 7th and 1st house, South Node will be in your 1st, North Node in the 7th. And they'll be there from January till the middle of 2026 for a year and a half. This is when fated relationships happen. This is when you meet fated business partners. This is when you get married. This is when you meet love of your life. This is when sometimes you divorce and get married again as well. But someone enters your life. This is when sometimes children come, because they enter your life at least for a cycle of the nodes, which is 18 years. At least till then they're around us. But someone that comes and enters your life, maybe not this year is very potent, and then till the middle of 2026 is you have like a soul contract with them, and they have new energy. They're not similar to there's something that they renew, they help you renew in some way. But first, March, April, Mercury, Venus retrograde in your 7th house. They might be in a new moon. There's the eclipse is here, in your sign. So some powerful changes there, but someone first from the past might come into your life, and you might rethink certain relationships and directions in your life. But remember, somehow February, March, and April, very powerful for you with the eclipses and all those planets in the 7th house. And Jupiter till June will be in your 10th house. Very good for your career. Very good. Use it. Opportunities coming, grow business if you want, better boss can come into your life. You can improve relationships with father figures, bosses, or you can approach institutions and such kind of authority places, and you'd get the green card. You'd be received well. Something good will happen. But this is a very great opportunity. The first 6 months, you might, for example, get a promotion. You might, for example, change your job for a more meaningful and purposeful one. If you've been unemployed for a long time, you can find finally a job that gives you, that excites you. Or you can align to, or you can grow already existing job or opportunity. Or even if you're not someone who, maybe you might be retired, you'll notice that your actions, the 10th house's actions, have more meaningful impact on the world. You might be more noticed, more, you can receive some recognition, you can receive some and you're helped with all kind of career, or from authority figures you're being helped in some way. So use this to your advantage to change something. But you see, remember, Saturn also, there's a lot of focus there in the 7th house the whole year, reframing your relationships, who you connect with, your public, your audience, your clients, are important developments there. And Venus and Jupiter moves from the middle of the year, from June, into your 11th house, and it will stay there for 1 year. And you'd see that your social life starts improving, because Saturn for the last 2.5 years has been in your 7th house, which is another social house. So maybe it dried out a bit. Maybe you're a bit more lonely. Maybe you didn't have enough time for connecting with others, or maybe you are building those barriers to cut off the people that might be time wasters in some way. But from June onwards, when Jupiter enters your 11th house, starts trining your 7th house, and Saturn leaves for 3 months your 7th house, and Neptune as well leaves it. There is only the North Node. So June, July, August, extremely positive times socially for you. Extremely, like, new friends will appear in your life, meaningful friendships that can stay for many years ahead and can be a source of growth for you, for opportunity. It can improve your existing relationships. If you had some difficulties with a partner, personal, business, or marriage partner, it's like you get renewed after that. And by the way, especially when Jupiter is in the 11th, North Node in your 7th, without Saturn and Neptune, you can meet someone brand new that's very exciting. And it's not always sex partner or whatever, but it can be a marriage partner for sure. But sometimes it can be new people enter your life that have this Rahu, Jupiter energy of growth, of opportunity, foreign energy of some sort, exotic energy, passionate energy as well. Passionate starts rising. Or so what I talked about, the nodes in 1st and 7th house gets very unblocked, especially if there was a crisis before that with Saturn and Neptune the first 4 months in the 7th house. It starts being healed when Jupiter enters the 11th and starts making a trine just to the North Node. So some big development, positive way in your relationships. With Jupiter in the 11th house, North Node in the 7th, especially the second part of the year, you can grow your clients, your following. You can have a much bigger reach to others. You can become more popular, more visible, more social. At least you can make more friends. I'm assigned before you like a Leo moon. So when Jupiter entered my 11th house, I became a lot more social, a lot more friends, made contacts, at least 10 new people I've met. And so you're coming out of your shell, Virgo, and you're becoming this, and these are the houses of fulfilling of personal desires. These are karma houses, the 11th, the 7th. So some of your personal desires will be fulfilled. The pleasures, the enjoyments of life come more and more from the second part of the year. And Jupiter will help you become more gainful as well. When it's in the 11th house, the house of gains, rewards, Jupiter rewards you. It's the favorite house of Jupiter. So the second part of the year and the first part of 2026, more gainfulness, more popularity, working on some long-term project or goal that you can fulfill, gaining some title or honor, bachelor, PhD or some reward for something, you know, some public recognition of some sort. And oftentimes it's socio-economic rewards, whether you're recognized by the group you want, either you have more following, or you receive financial rewards, like your business expands and grows, or there is more clients there, or there is like you get a bonus in some way. But it takes a whole year, this Jupiter in the 11th house. Or you're working, or you might start working on some goal and plan and project. And especially if you are here doing the right work for your career with Jupiter in the 10th house, when it gets into the 11th, you can start seeing the material financial rewards from that. But Saturn and Neptune move for a little bit into your 8th house. Just for 3 months, Saturn there, but Neptune will be there 14 years. It dips for 3-4 months this year, but it will be there 14 years. But the majority you'd feel, because Saturn and Neptune then come back in your 10th house, you'd feel it into your 7th house, you'd feel it still in the 7th house. And as I told you, the big work for you this year is really to cut off the social houses, cut off the people that don't deserve your attention, but Jupiter brings in new ones. Either it's a new personal relationship, either it's a new friendships, either it's new clients, because these all houses, the social houses, they can be clients or they can be friendships and relationships. So it's very much about the people in your life this whole year, Virgos. And they're the moving, they're really the pivotal stones, pivotal figures for you. Who you meet, who you connect, what new following clients or whatever you do, friendships, groups that you join, and it becomes especially noticeable the second part of the year. And just leaving some people, welcoming some new ones, redesigning who you want your clients to be and not, and new ones, opportunities coming. But it's very good for business, those houses. Very good for your social life and fulfilling desires, if you want. And then Uranus will move into your 10th house from July, but only for 3-4 months again. And there'll be a revolution in your career. There'll be a huge revolution in your career over the next 8 years in your social status. Uranus can shoot you high up, or if you're not in the right place, like just suddenly lose your career. But Uranus is the planet of authenticity and truth. So it will show you what your true path is in career somehow over the next 8 years. And it will involve a lot of new technologies for you, a lot of new, maybe social media. Uranus rules all of those things. So very alternative field that you never considered before will appear. But I speak a lot more in depth what those planets mean for you in my extended 2.5-hour video. And I speak there the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, which is happening 25 and 26 in your 8th house, what it means for you, how it's going to impact you. But now, I want you to focus, Saturn in the 7th, Jupiter in the 10th, then the 11th, the North Node in the 7th. These are the big events for you. Thank you. Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising 2025. Libra, one of the biggest focuses this year for you is happening in the Earth houses, which are called the houses of material prosperity, or the houses of arranging the practical material side of your life. So this would be a big, big emphasis, because the year starts with Mars retrograde in your 10th house, and Mars stays there almost till the end of April. So the first 3 to 4 months, Mars is the focus, the focus for us, for you, and it's happening in your house of career. You might be changing something about your career. You might be rethinking if this is the right direction to go. Maybe going back to a previous career or unfinished project that you haven't done. Or maybe finishing some responsibilities. It's not always about career. 10th house is your actions overall, your worldly responsibilities and duties. If you're a stay-at-home mother or if you're a pensioner, doesn't matter. You're very busy those 3-4 months. You're restructuring, reorganizing the whole kind of a fabric and structure of your daily life, of your activities overall. Maybe Mars asks you to be definitely more organized. Mars is a planet of a soldier, of a general, to plan it strategically, to plan your actions strategically like a general. But people that are in their career, there is maybe some project that very demanding that they're working on, putting extra efforts. A retrograde planet, especially the first 2 months, Mars is retrograde, requires more efforts, requires you to be more deliberate, to mobilize more of your resources, to fight maybe something. You might even have some dealings with bosses or authoritative figures. I advise you, not to escalate this in any way, but if you have to fight some battle connected to institutions, authority figures, or bosses, this might be emphasis for some of you. And Mars starts turning direct from the end of February, so things start improving there. The daily life starts becoming more predictable, so to speak. And others might start seeing the results if they've been working on correcting something with their career or extra efforts to reduce some project or whatever. They might start seeing the results of those actions towards March and April. But there's still the Mars really wants to organize you there in your worldly affairs, in your actions, to mobilize your actions. And especially the last 17 or 15 degrees of Libra will feel this Mars more strongly. And that's, from 15 to 30 degrees of Libra. If you have your sun, moon, or ascendant there, Mars retrograde might square you and move forward again. You definitely feel the pressure from Mars. And sometimes Mars makes us put a lot of energy when it's in the 10th house towards getting things done, towards definitely you'll be much more productive those 4 or 5 months, even though in retrograde there might be certain delays and changes you have to do. But you can achieve a lot. You might be very proud with yourself for the corrections, the structural changes that you've done, the reconsidering of the direction of the career in some way. And if there were some problems or stresses with authority figures, bosses, police sometimes, or other people of authority, they start disappearing from March, April onwards. Or you start seeing the results of the hard effort you put before. And, I've seen people that work under a deadline when Mars is in the 10th house sometimes, and they feel stressed. But yeah, definitely the last 15 degrees might feel a bit more stressed the first 3-4 months of the year. And they might be under deadlines or pressure of some sort. And you can feel more triggered. It can activate your relationship access as well, that you're more reactive to others. But it's only so your energies is mobilized into some right actions. Because Mars rules your 7th house, the ruler of the 7th goes into the 10th house, sometimes this kind of power struggles might be connected to a partnership, or it might mean that in a partnership you're working with a partner towards something to change the circumstances of your life, your status, your reputation together, or if you're working on a business together or something, that you have to mobilize your resources and your energy together towards some mutual goal, for example. But people in high authority positions, they'll be very busy during that time, and they'll be making some changes and so on. But the moment Mars leaves, just a couple of months later, Jupiter enters your 10th house, Libras. So you see again, this emphasis comes. So whatever, if there was any crisis there, Jupiter heals it all. After that, it will stay in your 10th house for a whole year. So Mars maybe prepared the ground with its demolition team. Mars came, changed things there with your social status. And from June onwards, you have a very positive prospects about growth in your career, for example, getting a promotion, getting a recognition, being more visible, being more seen, having more impact on your environment. Whatever actions you do, they'll be recognized, they'll be visible. Whatever changes in your social status and reputation, they'll be favorable from the second part of the year. But the first part, till June, Jupiter is in your 9th house, very protective influence. It's making a trine to you till June, till the 9th of June or something like that. So those first 5-6 months, there is support from the universe. The ninth house is the luckiest house. Jupiter is the luckiest planet. When it's there, there is definitely divine protection for you. And there is a lot more luck in your life. Almost like being at the right time, at the right place, at the right time. You need a parking spot, it opens up, or somehow your lower self aligns to your higher self. And you get a new vision till the middle of the year about your future. Almost like we become more prophetic when Jupiter is in the ninth house. We have more faith in the universe, more faith in God. You strengthen your connection to higher power, to wisdom. Fantastic time to study something the first 6 months. Ninth house is university degrees, pre-qualifying for something. Ninth house is knowledge, but knowledge not just, which is just for the sake of learning or a degree. This is meaningful knowledge for you. This is knowledge you'll be using, especially when Jupiter moves into your 10th house from the middle of the year. You'll be able to use that new knowledge that you gain, that new perspective, expanded perspective, and apply it in a practical way in your life, to improve your social status, to improve your impact in the world. So maybe fantastic time if you want to study, pre-qualify, if you want to expand your knowledge, if you want to travel. You get easy access to foreign countries. Ninth house rules faraway travels. When Jupiter is in the ninth house, they'll be successful, they'll be positive. If you want to take some courses, if you want to it's like you start believing more when Jupiter is in the ninth house. You have more faith in the universe, more faith in God. You rearrange your future. You see it in a more clear way. And what is really will bring you meaning and purpose. I've loved always when Jupiter transits my ninth house. That's when I discovered astrology, for example. When it was transiting there. Then the next time I started teaching astrology when it was transiting there. It's about teaching, it's about learning, it's about finding good mentors, inspirational figures, or you becoming a mentor or becoming a guide to someone, or finding the right guides for yourself as well. The right dedicating yourself to some higher path or knowledge path, and really knowing where you stand, really knowing what your purpose is. This is what Jupiter in the ninth house helps you discover your purpose, your meaning in life. Sometimes people have children. Sometimes they discover something really that for at least the next 12 years becomes a source of joy and purpose and learning and luck for them as well, like I did years ago. So yes, this is a blessed influence, Jupiter in the ninth. Then it moves into the 10th. Your career in a tangible way will improve your impact on the world. You can discover a career path that's very meaningful for you, or apply knowledge that you've learned to grow already existing one. And during this whole time, most of the year, Saturn, the other most important planet, is in your 6th house. Wherever Saturn goes, this is where the more harder lessons are, where we have to work a bit harder, but it still can bring us incredible rewards. You as the Libra rising, Saturn for you is a good planet. And Saturn, for 9 months out of 12 in 2025, is in your 6th house. Another, as I said, house of practical material, arranging your practical material life. The 6th house is our routines, our habits, and Saturn really wants you to remove the unhealthy ones from your life. And you've had Saturn there for 1.5 years already. 2025 is the last year Saturn will be in your 6th house. And when it's so often that when I see Saturn in the 6th house, especially from someone's ascendant, but also Sun or Moon to a lesser degree, this is the rare time in one's life where one can remove unhealthy habits and introduce new healthy ones that will stay for them long term, for many years, maybe for the next 30 years in your life. I've seen people stop smoking, people stop drinking, people start exercising then. I've seen people quit prescription medicine and find something to maintain their health that is more long term, that is more sustainable, so to speak. And this is one of the big things you have to do. Plus, organize your daily reality. Saturn in the 6th house is like wants more order around you, things to be more organized, for you to be more responsible with anything material in your life, or any even material responsibilities, possessions, And Saturn helps you be more dutiful towards yourself and others. And you see, you have also the North Node is moving into your 6th house. Neptune is there, a big part of the year. The North Node enhances whatever it touches. The eclipses will be happening there for a year and a half for you in your 6th and 12th house. So definitely shedding off old unhealthy habits, introducing new ones that will stay for you for a long time. Plus 6th house rules work, just like the 10th house is vocation, career. 6th house is your either your everyday chores and duties, whether it's to brush up your teeth, to take care of your children, whether it's to clean the house, or if you work, this is your employment. This is the responsibilities at your work, or these are your workers if you have your own business. This is your office. This is your employees and teammates and workmates. So you see, there's a lot of focus there. Saturn wants to make that sphere more elegant, streamline it, remove unnecessary. If you have, and Saturn there can bring extra responsibility more than usual, but you're meticulous about them, and Saturn is very good at helping you prioritize which are the most important duties you have to do. And you might remove certain ones that are just wasting your time, say like when Saturn was in my 6th house from the moon, I used to check 1,000 emails per day and answer them personally. And I'm like, I can't do this. And I used to do like 2 horoscopes per day for people. And I said, no, I need to prioritize and focus on something that is more efficient for me. So I gave those duties to someone else, and I started doing things that I considered were more important. So some restructuring of your work, of your daily routines. Plus, I just had babies when Saturn was in my 6th house. My whole routines had to change. I'm giving you an example of my life, but like my whole what I do every day had to change, had to be much more organized and strict there. So Saturn will, and once you've done it, once Saturn leaves, and it will leave for 3 months, your 6th house, you'd find yourself in a more elegant material reality, that it's more, you've done the hard work, it's simplified now, just keep on going in that direction after that, so it's not going to be as hard anymore. And of course, Saturn there wants you to pay attention to some health issues. And especially if they're chronic conditions, Saturn makes you dedicated to either fix them or to maintain them, to not keep having health chronic issues, but to manage them better with lifestyle changes, with diet changes, with exercise or whatever. Or Saturn 6th house is debt. You can consolidate debts. You can work on finishing some debt, for example. And you see, especially in the summer, Saturn and Neptune leave your 6th house, and just Jupiter and the North Node stay in those wealth-producing houses, in those houses that want to settle up your material life. So you might feel a lot of pressure take off from there, and a lot of opportunities stay with you during this period. In the summer period for the Northern Hemisphere, where there is opportunities with work, where things are going smoothly in all those directions, with career, with your health habits, with your daily routines in some way. But Saturn then moves back from September. Neptune is way into your 6th house. Jupiter continues to be in your 10th house. So some of the best achievements you'll be able to have is in those practical houses that we spoke about, putting order in your life. And I mentioned that Neptune and Saturn dip into your 7th house for a few months. Only the very early Libras would feel this very strongly, those first 4 or 5 degrees of Libra, where there'll be a huge change in their relationship, where their partners might change, the circumstances in the life of their partner doesn't necessarily mean you end the relationship, unless it's unhealthy, it will end it, and a brand new ones will appear for the years ahead. But for others, it can be the dynamic of their relationship is changing. Who they let in their life will change. A lot of their relationships will refocus from pleasure to work relationships that are more or some duties that you take and responsibilities, new ones together with a partner. But Saturn and Neptune are meeting at the very first degrees of Aries, so the very early Libras might have a brand new direction in life, and it will come to them through another person, or another person will appear in their life, and not necessarily an intimate partner, but it might be who will redirect them and who will push them in a different direction somehow. And Uranus is moving into your 9th house. Pluto is in your 5th house. So there'll be a lot of support for Libra. Actually, the next 7 to 8 years, Libras are going to, despite of Saturn opposing them, despite of Neptune opposing them, because of the help of Uranus and Pluto for many years ahead with a trine to Libra, something incredible will help you. They're going into very creative houses, Uranus and Pluto, in the 5th and the 9th, where there will be a lot of inspiration for you. You'll be attuned to your higher self and what it wants, to your dharmic path, the path of meaning in your life, and you're going to be able to fulfill it by collaborating with others, so your partner can help in that direction, or a new partner that appears, but someone or others will help you fulfill grand ideals and grand inspirations of yours for many years ahead. But as I said, 2025, it's mostly like you're preparing. There's still a lot more of a preparation in 2025. Just the very early Libras might start feeling those things manifest and materialize, those new beginnings, because Saturn and Jupiter will be on angle for them. But otherwise, there is a lot of focus on your material base. Sort it out, your habits, your responsibilities, your duties, your work, and then these new inspirations will come more and more into 2026 that will put you in a new direction. Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising 2025. Scorpio, this year is a year of self-discovery for you. Why is that? Because the majority of planets activating you are going to be in the self houses. You see the other water houses for you, Pisces, Cancer. That's where the biggest action is in this year, the most potent influence, because Mars first starts its retrograde path till April. It will be in your 9th house, house of who am I, what are my highest ideals, what is the future for me, my plan for the future. So Mars might be reworking your plan for the future. Sometimes people start pre-qualifying during that time, doubting what they've always believed and where they saw themselves. So actually this 9th house is so important, because first Mars activates it till the end of April, then Jupiter activates it from June for 1 year till the middle of 2026. So the whole universe is trying to push you and help you find out those big questions for you. What is my purpose? Where am I heading? What truly inspires me? What gives me meaning? What's the reason for me to wake up in the morning? First, Mars can create some crisis here where you're asking, oh, I've always believed that. Is it true? Or I've always thought this is going to be my future, or this is what's going to happen, or some existential crisis with those big questions in life. And to some extent, sometimes there can be some legal issues one has to deal with when Mars is in the 9th house, or educational, university issues, or matters connected to relocation, foreign places as well. But usually these are the big moral questions, and this Mars retrograde and direct is actually helping you with a trine. So it's really helping you, whatever changes might be happening externally, it's really helping you redefine your role in this world and align yourself to your more dharmic path, the path that your soul desires, that will make you happiest. Dharma is true happiness. And then Jupiter enters this 9th house from June. Believe me, from June you'll feel such lifting of energy. The energy will become so much higher for you. You start feeling more positive. Any kind of gradually for 1 year ahead, any doubts you had about your future, where you're heading, what is your purpose, will be clarified, and you'll get a clear picture over 1 year when Jupiter is in your 9th house about what you're here to do, what you should study, where you should, 9 houses, what is your ideals as well. Because when you sort out this 9th house, the luckiest house in astrology, the house closest to God as well, when you sort out your relationship with God, or your relationship in regards to the universe, how you see yourself, your role in this incarnation, let's say, when you have this sorted out, everything else rearranges itself around it. When you have the right state of mind, as they call it, and especially higher perspective that Jupiter gives. Answers to questions that you've had, as if you would feel like as if you've been in the forest till now, trying to find the path. And when Jupiter enters your ninth house, an ego lifts you up, or you get to the highest tree and you see, oh, that's where the path is. This is where the city is. You see it from above and you decide where you want to go. This will be the feeling. And there will be a lot more optimism, faith, feeling like you're at the right place at the right time, realigning with your higher self, seriously, realigning with the universe. You start believing the universe is a kind mother, a kind father that has your back. Faith really increases, and during that time a person becomes luckier. They feel they're lucky. It's just they have a higher perspective during that time, and God shows them the path in some way. So you might find teachers, mentors, people that inspire you, that gives you answers about important questions in your life from the second part of the year. And it can give you green access when Jupiter enters the ninth house to study in the best universities, or to find great mentors and teachers, or to start teaching yourself. I discovered astrology when Jupiter was in my ninth house. It became the meaning and purpose of my life. The next time it was in my ninth house, I started teaching. Ninth house is about, now I become the mentor, and I gave birth to my first child, another new meaning that will stay with me forever. So something will come from the second part of the year that will renew your meaning in life and purpose, and will make you luckier and, even wealthier in some way. So yeah, this is, and it might even bring you more money, because Jupiter rules your second house. Whatever new inspiration comes to you, it can be connected to more financial wealth for you. And the whole time, or 9 months out of those 12, Saturn stays in your fifth house, another self house, another house that shows you who you are. Here are your natural talents. Here are what you really can stand out and daze the world with. Your natural gifts that you're born with. Everyone has some natural gift that they're born with. For example, mine is not singing, for sure. And even if I love to do it, that's not my natural gift. But you discover when Saturn is in the fifth house. So in the ninth, you discover your high purpose, something to live for, your path, the future ahead. In the fifth, you discover your really true, something that will give you true self-esteem, true self-confidence. And these are your own inborn intelligence. Fifth house, the house of your intelligence, is not the third house like we think. Third house is how you can communicate and how fast you are with words. But true intelligence is ability to create, ability to find yourself out of situations by independent creative thinking. So Saturn here is working on your natural talents, creativity, helping you discover them, helping you master them, helping you maybe even turn a talent that you have. And we have a talent, but if we don't develop it, it doesn't go anywhere. Saturn, it puts exactly those 10,000 hours into some talent. You have to turn it into something genius and exceptional, to master it. So some of you might be doing just that, mastering some talent they have. Others might be working on some creative project. Others might be working on turning a talent into a business. Fifth house is anything that you grow from a baby, like your own, whether it's a business that's your own personal idea, whether it's actual business, child. When my husband had Saturn in the fifth house, that's when we had 2 babies, and I was working a lot, so he had to take care of the children a lot. Sometimes this is, some responsibilities towards children. But finding your core self, this Jupiter there is part of the core houses, Saturn there. So you get a lot more clarity about who you are, and a lot more inner strength. And you have an opportunity to be more creative, to be more empowered, I would say. Look, they're making trines to you, and especially towards the end of the year, both Saturn and Jupiter will be making trines towards the last 10 degrees of Scorpio from 20 till 30. Something amazing around November, December 2025, like really like grand trine. Something will flow, some problem will be solved, something will be rewarded. something will fall into place, like the puzzles will fall into place. And that's how I want to show you the whole year, like the puzzles falling into place. You're finding missing puzzles of you that you're putting in yourself somehow. And so work on your talents, study something new from the second part of the year. New inspirations are coming. Yes, Saturn in the 5th house can say there might be some issues in your love life. Sometimes it's one of the houses of love, and we have Mercury and Venus retrograde there already February, March, April. It's quite tense here in this 5th house, but it's making a trine to you, Scorpio. So you'll be, because I'm quite worried worldwide for this eclipse here, retrograde Venus, Mercury, Saturn, Neptune, and North Node conjunction at the same time. The Sun and Moon there as well. It's about 2-3 months they are constantly there. But for you, it's like it unlocks your house of good karma from past lifetimes. So maybe around that time, actually, something good can come to you from past life actions, unexpected, because we have 2 retrograde planets. You can unlock as well some good karma from this life, and some creative project, something important with creative project with a child or romantic relationships during the retrograde period, which is around April and March and April. Someone from the past can enter your life, or some old passion and project of yours can come to be redone, but something important is happening. Or something with children that's very important. If you're Scorpio, something life-changing connected to children as well can happen. So you see, a lot of the focus is this 5th, 9th houses, which are supporting you, Scorpio, and Uranus is moving out of opposition with you, so no more disruptions. Sometimes in July it moves and comes back in November, but only in the last 3 degrees. So only the last 3 degrees of Scorpio will feel Uranus after the summer for a few more months. And Uranus moves into your 8th house, out of the picture. Neptune and Saturn for a few months move into your 6th house, no longer respecting you. So Scorpio for many years ahead will be free from the outer planets, will be free from a direct aspect from Uranus, free from a direct aspect from Saturn, free from a direct aspect from Neptune. Only Pluto will stay with you for the next 7-10 years until Uranus moves. But they'll be all helpful aspects. And so the big thing is Pluto for 18 years in your 4th house, where you really end the karma of your family, break the pattern of your ancestors, and break away from old patterns, family patterns, and understand a lot about your past and so on. But I want to focus on this year in particular, that for you, it is about finding yourself, finding your meaning and purpose. There'll be a lot of lucky unlocking of lucky circumstances, so to speak. Yes, there might be some rethinking of your relationship with children, something very important happening in your love life, like someone leaving, someone appearing as well, because the North Node enters there. Your creative projects and so on, but there's a lot of help. And I speak a lot more in depth how Uranus in your 8th house will affect you, how Saturn and Neptune in your 6th house will affect you. But this year you feel it only for 3 months, so it's not really, Saturn in your 6th house is not really the focus this year. It's much more in your 5th house, trying to create for you true self-confidence based on your talents that you need to unfold. And then when Saturn moves to the 6th house, okay, for 3 months it does. This is when you become the apprentice, so to speak. And this is when you really put order in your life, when you really organize yourself, your health habits, your routines. You become much more meticulous about cleanliness, about your environment, and you dedicate yourself to a lot of hard work. You have 2 and 3 years ahead with Saturn in your 6th house, where you're willing to be the hard worker, where sometimes people even become a bit of a workaholics. And Saturn and Neptune start a new cycle in your 6th house. There might be a brand new jobs for some of you Scorpios that is coming over the next 2 years. Brand new service that you're called to do to others. Brand new, a lot of you might have some very important mission in service areas, where service areas of any sort, whether it's the medical field, whether it's healing fields, whether it's military or any kind of service to others in need in some way, because you might make some big changes in the world in connected to service or health or anything like that. But I speak a lot more in depth in my 2025 video about those other short influences. But for now, I want you to focus that it's the self houses. That's where the most important influences for you are, and you're finding who you are and putting the puzzles of your picture together and strengthening yourself. Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising 2025. Sagittarius, this is the peak year for you. What do I mean? You see that a big part of the year, at least the first 5 months, Jupiter is on angle from you. This is you. Jupiter is right on, this is the angle, the cross of matter. Jupiter is on angle for you till June. Saturn is on angle from you, 90 degrees, till the end of April, so the first 4 months, and then back again the last 3 months of the year. So actually the first 6 months. So for 9 months, Saturn is on an angle for you. For 5 months, almost 6, Jupiter is on angle for you. So when Saturn and Jupiter are on angle from some signs, this is when the wheel of fortune spins. This is when a peak period happens in life, because these are action houses. These are the pillars of one's life. And the two biggest change makers, which are the two visible planets, Saturn and Jupiter, are there. So the things are moving for you. Things are changing. It's not a year where you're waiting around and not doing anything, or a year when you're preparing for something or contemplating. No, it's an action year. These are action houses. A lot of the action is happening with your relationships the first 7 months, 6 months, even 7, let's say, and in your personal life with so many planets, especially March, April, February, March, April, there's so much happening in this 4th house. We have eclipses here. We have Saturn, Neptune. We have the North Node the first 4 months there with Saturn, Neptune. We have Venus, Mercury there, retrograde, then direct. So the first 3-4 months, expect something big connected to your personal life, to family, some big changes that you might there, where you live, reconstruction, or maybe repairs, I don't know, but there is a big focus here. Something is shifting here. Something is being worked on. Your relationships with parents, maybe a new responsibility comes into your life in regards, in the shape of a child or a mortgage, in the shape of some kind of something to do with the family, new project there, because the North Node also enters there. And for a year and a half, it will be making eclipses in your 4th and 10th house, or something with your careers will be changing. There will be 1 eclipse, 2 eclipses in your 10th house this year. And so maybe even careers will change, place of living, the circumstances of your private life will change, and relationships. Jupiter is on the axis of relationships. Jupiter rules you. It's in the 7th house the first 6 months. So maybe a big shift in relationships. Some of you might meet the person of your life. Some of you might get married. Some of you might get divorced. Jupiter in the 7th can give divorce, but this is a happy divorce. This is a happy separation, especially if you've been stuck in a relationship that is not giving much life, because Jupiter wants to bring you joy, so it will remove if someone is a source of unhappiness from you. 7th house is other people. Will free you from them. Jupiter is a freeing planet, while introducing other people. It might be business partners, might be friends, or might be intimate partners, because 7th house is very much connected to that, which are a source of inspiration, joy, happiness, a lot more. Business partnerships are strongly recommended. There will be like your collaborations the first 6 months, building bridges, reaching out for more clients. People usually grow their businesses when Jupiter is in the 7th house. They grow their clientele as well. They can have fast growth in such direction. Their public appeal grows as well. And because you're Jupiter, you invest a lot of your time in building bridges, in relationships, personal business. They can be also renewal of an existing relationship, that more life is infused there, that the partner becomes more excited for something, more alive, that if there was some difficulties in a relationship, it improves. But yeah, you see how the biggest, most important axis is activated, whether it's personal changes, whether it's through relationships, you're moving. And of course, Saturn is looking at your 10th house of career. So you're putting efforts there as well towards your career, not only responsibilities at home and your personal life. And then Jupiter moves from June into your 8th house. And Saturn has moved into your 5th house with Neptune till then. So Jupiter will start healing you. In the 8th house, this house of where we store traumas. So there will be and I've seen when Jupiter transits the 8th house, there can be sudden healing, a very fast healing, because a lot of stored emotion is released and a person feels lighter, much lighter, emotionally, psychologically, and there can be even physical spontaneous healings, because Jupiter spins the chakras. The 8th house rules all the chakras of the body. They approach much faster in a healing right way. So a lot of times people can have a healing crisis when Jupiter enters into the 8th house. A big change happens in life because it's the house of big changes. That can be a little bit stressful at the beginning, but it's so healing. You feel like a brand new person. 8th house is also the house of soulmate relationships. Sometimes we meet soulmates. Like Jupiter is first in the 7th of relationships, then in the 8th house, which are more private relationship, but the more focused on the strong intimacy, or the intimacy in an already existing relationship can improve. The sexual connection, the trust between the two can improve, letting the person closer to you, to your inner sanctum. And what is sex? It's truly one of the most sacred actions in the world, not like what we've turned it into something shameful almost, which the way we do it is shameful. But Jupiter kind of purifies this and creates a true connection to another soul. So as I said, the whole year, I think, for a relationship, meeting someone special or improving existing relationship. Plus 8th house is the house of other people's resources. You'll have more access to other people's resources. Maybe a partner will get an increase sometime next year from the second part, especially. Maybe you'll get into a business partnership which will bring you, or will get more clients that will bring you more of their resources to you. Or maybe you'll get sponsored by someone, or maybe you'll receive an alimony or money from the government, or if you have your own business, you can increase the income that comes from there, or some tax rebate, for example. And Jupiter, as I said, there is healing, there is more intimacy, but there is also fast changes when Jupiter is in the 8th house, because it's the house of changes, with Jupiter's making it bigger, expanding it, and quickly cutting off somehow with others from the past and moving into a new reality. And Saturn moves for 3 months into your 5th house, Sagittarius. It will be just for 3 months, but then in 2026 it comes back for another 2 years. So that's not so much for 2025, because it's only 3 months Saturn day in your 3rd house, but it's much more for 2026 and 7, where you'll be mastering some talent of yours. You'll be putting those 10,000 hours, because 5th house is our true talents, our God-given inspirations and intelligence. Everyone has different intelligence. Some have logical, some have intuitive intelligence, some have pictorial, like they're intelligent with pictures, with images. Others are intelligent with sound. Like these are our talents. And you'd really develop those talents there and even turn them into business if you want, into something productive, or some original idea will be born out of you, Sagittarius, because Saturn and Neptune are starting a new 35 cycle in your 5th house of divine inspirations and creative intelligence. So some idea, this is where we receive the ideas, will come to you. Maybe 2025, they're closest around July, or maybe 2026. They're closed pretty much the whole 2026, the beginning, where you download some ideas, some projects, some business ideas, some creative idea, or a child. Fifth house is also your children. You can download this, or it can come a very special child if a child comes for you, Sag. Very special gift from God. Saturn, Neptune is something very important. Or creative idea that can be here and that you can develop over the next 30 years if God gives you that long life, but something that will be original, something that will be in touch with, something that you create yourself, like creating your own kingdom and vision for your life. And Uranus will be helping you in the coming 4 or 5 years. Pluto will be helping you. Look, they are like looking exactly towards your 5th house, where Saturn and Neptune meet, from your 6th house, 7th house of others, 3rd house of others as well. So somehow in collaborations with others over the next 5-6 years, because Saturn and Neptune germinate this idea, and Uranus and Pluto hold the sextile with Neptune till 2030. You germinate some incredible, unique idea of yours or some talent that you have, and others will help you, and it will reach many people, because these are houses of other people, and others can help you fulfill it. But I speak a lot more about that in my 2025 in-depth video. So Sagittarius, the first 4 months, first Mars is here, retrograde. Be careful with finances, other people's finances, your partner's finances. There might be something to do with insurance, inheritance, struggle, battle, taxes that you have to arrange, or complications. But after that, by June, Jupiter enters, heals all of this, solves all of those problems. If your partner had financial problems, so you had, or if there was some power struggles in regards to your intimate life or psychologically, Jupiter heals all of this. And as I said, a lot of focus the majority of the year in those psychological, emotional houses, healing of traumas, old karmas, stopping ancestral patterns of behaviors. The 4th house is the ancestors, and disconnecting from those patterns, changing big changes in personal relationships and personal life as well, personal business relationships. You see, it's interesting, but a lot of the biggest changes are also internal, and these are moksha houses of being freed and liberated from a burden. But the process of being freed can feel emotionally intense. So it's a good time to work with a psychologist or astrologer, to be more introspective as well. There will be moments of introspection where you are able to have very deep realizations about your life and about what's connecting you to the past, what's tying you back to the past, and to be able to release it. So thank you so much, Sagittarius. And yeah, you will see very fast changes this year. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising 2025. Capricorn, this year there is a big emphasis on relationships for you. They might be personal, intimate relationships, but also friendships, connections with all people around you. So this will be the year to really decide who you want to stay in your life, and new people will appear. But the year starts with Mars retrograde in your 7th house. The first 4 months, actually, Mars is the major player that you'll be feeling exactly opposite you from the 7th house, especially the last 15 degrees of Capricorn, from 15 to 30, will feel this Mars very strongly the first 4 months of the year. And Mars is asking you there to really decide who you want to be in your life. Mars is unapologetic and sharp planet. If someone is pressing your buttons wrongly, if someone is too aggressive, if someone is in some way unhealthy for you, you're gonna cut them off. Mars, you can imagine, it's like a sharp tool, like a surgical instrument that you might apply to either people in your environment. Might be boyfriend, girlfriend, might be husband, wife, and you might be quite demanding. If there is something you don't like, you're gonna state it, you're gonna demand from them. And also you can see this from others, that others point out to you if something is wrong, that others are more reactive with you, that others are pressing you more. And you have to decide, because Mars is a fixer-upper. It wants only to repair things that don't work, and ones that don't work, to cut them out with the surgical instrument. And you can also, this seventh house can be also your clients, the people you interact as well. It might be friendships as well. Some of you might have some crisis there with a personal partner or clients or whatever, that you have to resolve some issue. Or others might be the instigation for you to make some changes in your life, because the moving force, Mars, comes from others. They might tell you, oh, I don't like this, or this is not working well, and that can make you make changes in your own life in some way. Or sometimes I've seen it, Mars such a long time in someone's seventh house, one person had it very easy. They just were working with a personal trainer, someone to push them to get things done. But if sometimes there can be conflicts. Yes, so the first 4 months, a bit more careful about conflicts with others, with clients, with any other people in your life, or your partner might be going under some pressure, or your partnership might be going under reevaluation, whether to stay or no. So some important decisions will be taken there. Things become easier after from March onwards, when Mars has turned direct. But there is also good news, because from June, Mars has moved out of your seventh house by end of April, but Jupiter 2 months later enters your seventh house and will stay there for a whole year, from June 2025 to June 2026. So Jupiter will heal if there were some clashes with you and your partner, difficulty in the life of your partner. Jupiter can heal this. They can improve the health of your partner, the health of your relationship. Or if you remove the relationship from your life, or friendship, Jupiter will bring new, way more happier, luckier, and fruitful such relationships. If you cut off some partners, if you cut off some clients, if you had a bust up with someone, or even a court case, you might have been fighting with Mars in the seventh house with someone, or some feud, open enemies, Jupiter heals this after that. So the second part of the year, it's like Mars first comes with his demolition team there in your seventh house, to fix, to repair, or to destroy something that's not working. And then Jupiter comes and starts bringing new, building on top, more fruitful, positive relationship, new clients, new partnership, new relationships, improve interactions with others, good things coming to you from others rather than crisis coming to you from others. Or if you've been working hard with Mars there for a few months in your seventh house with someone, especially on some project, on something together, maybe when Jupiter enters your seventh house, you start seeing the fruits of it. I've also seen when Jupiter is in the seventh house, once clients' lists expand, they get a lot more public exposure. That's the second part of the year. And the first part of 2026 become more popular. Get married. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. It can bring, if it brings a partner, it brings a life partner. It brings a wonderful new person in your life. Jupiter loves it. It's so strong there. It can bring you new people in your life that expand your horizon, that bring new opportunities to you, that make you believe in yourself more in some way. But open yourself to others, especially the second part of the year. The first part might be more to be a bit more cautious with Mars there, and a bit more with the fist, working with the fist. But again, it can be very productive, especially if you are working, even though there might be tensions with someone on something. You see that a big part of the year, Saturn is also in a social house connected to others. It's in your third house. And 9 months out of 12, Saturn is in your third house. It just moves into your fourth house for 3 months, June, July, and August, and comes back into your third house. So again, big focus is in one of your social houses. And Saturn here, especially the first 3-4 months, where it's going to be with Neptune and the North Node together. Very powerful combination, Neptune and the North Node. Like they're like three superheroes coming together in your third house, making good aspects to Capricorn. It's not making squares, crisis, and whatever. If crisis comes, it's more likely from the opposition with Mars. But Saturn is also asking you pretty much the whole of the year to be selective about who you let in your life, especially in your everyday environment. And sometimes problems with neighbors, relatives, siblings can escalate then. And especially be careful February, March, and April, when there will be Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde here, Neptune, the North Node, and Saturn. Some very important developments can happen in your life in regards to such people. Depends on your personal horoscope, if they're positive or if they're more challenging. But also you would decide that Saturn there can help you organize and structure your relationships with others, can help you organize and structure your correspondence, can help you organize and structure your thought processes. I've heard people say that after Saturn transit in their third house, they have found their voice. They've learned to be heard, to communicate more consciously, with intention. Especially if you're someone who don't feel you're being heard by others, who don't feel that you're being respected for what you say, Saturn helps you this year, and it's been working on this already for a year and a bit, helps you find this voice, be heard in a group environment. And for many of you, it can mean that this year you might have some important thing to do in a small team. Some project. Third house is another business house. House of commerce, of sales, of marketing, advertising, of branding, of product preparation, of business plans, of sales and media work, writing, speaking. Some of you might have some very important, like some of you might be writing a book or a manual, might be writing a thesis. Some of you might be making a blog or a website or learning to do videos. I remember I started doing videos with Saturn in my third house from the moon. And third house is the house of acquiring skills, and Saturn makes you master a skill. And my biggest weakness was communication. I could not enter into a store and ask what the price of the dress was because I felt very shy. I had like a social anxiety all my life till Saturn entered my third house and said, right now, third house from the moon in my case it was. My social anxiety started with Saturn in third house from the ascendant. When I broke up with all my friends, we stopped talking. Sometimes Saturn there can do such things. But I'm glad those people left my life because new people appeared that were much more, the people that appear in your life, they'll be much long lasting. They'll be there for many years. Some will leave from your friends, from your social circle. New will come that are long term, which is Saturn. And there might be some spiritual connection as well because Neptune is there, and Rahu, different new people. But also some people from the past will come that you haven't been in touch with, especially during Venus and Mercury retrograde in the spring sometime together in your third house. People from the past will come back, but new ones will appear. But it's about also forming skills and developing skills. Like I told you, I found my voice. I learned to do difficult things like talk in front of camera, write articles, do websites. I learned all this with Saturn in the third house. All those difficult things, all those practical skills is the third house that I thought I could never do. And I thought I was horrible on camera. And I worked through those issues with Saturn in the third house. And one other thing, third house is the house of fulfilling desires. So is the seventh. These are Kama houses. Kama means desire, not karma. Kama. So Saturn really loves being in the third house. Most of this year it's in your third house because it helps you go towards the things you desire and fulfill them. Saturn allows you to work hard towards those things you desire. And that's why they say you've exited a year or something ago. Your sadistic period, the dark night of the soul, and you've entered your most productive period. And Saturn is growing now, so the fruits of your labors will start becoming visible from this year already, because the seeds were planted in the last 7 years, and from a year and a half ago, Saturn in your third house in 2025, Saturn for the last time in your third house. You've placed the foundations, now you start seeing the results of those efforts. So yeah, that's Saturn the third is very good, even though it can create problems sometimes with siblings, with relatives, with transportations, with communications. I remember I constantly had sound issues with Saturn in the third house. I went through 100 microphones, but I learned to edit, to do videos, so many skills you learn. So good time to study, guys, if you can this year. Good time to develop skills, good time to develop business if you want. Saturn is very good in the third house. And as I said, Jupiter is in your sixth house, by the way, till the middle of the year, till June. So it's good to expand your work. You can have more work. You can find a job that's more appropriate for you, or you can add on extra duties to your job, or you can find more satisfaction and joy from health, from routines, from daily kind of routines, and you can get into nutrition, into healing of some sort. You can get into exercise. Jupiter allows it to happen with ease, but also it's your job, it's your work, where the environment there can improve in some way. You can expand, you can grow your office or your business. And then when Jupiter enters the seventh house and Mars is not there anymore from June, and Saturn has entered the Neptune into your fourth house, and the North Node only is in your third house, really fast growth of clients, fast growth of popularity, fast growth of social interactions. So you start feeling that I would say from June onwards, that you're a lot more social. Because you see, before that, we had in the social houses Saturn and Mars, the beginning of the year, the first few months. And yes, there is focus there on others and social and who you connect with, who your clients are. But they're not so much enjoyable planets. They're the planets of hard work. They're the planets of cutting off someone and solving problems. And then they move away from the social houses. And you find yourself much more easily bonding with others, the second part, much more easily connecting, feeling heard, feeling seen, making more clients, making more friendships, making more, as I said, also intimate relationships. So social life really picks up from the second part of the year. Saturn moves into your fourth house for 2-3 months with Neptune. In the summer, some new responsibilities might appear for you connected to home, to family. And you see for about 3 months, you have Saturn and Jupiter on angle from you. But especially the early born Capricorns, the first 7-8 degrees, let's say, they can have some life-changing action and decisions happening those summer months, June, July, and August. When Saturn and Jupiter in angular houses, these are the houses of action. So a lot of new changes can happen in the summer for you. Well, before that, it was more like a preparation. And then bam, bam, June, July, August. But then Saturn moves back from an angular house, moves back to your third house. So again, some boundaries, some rules and regulations, or some hard work connected to matters of learning, skills, communications, developing some project, or who is in your life, like connections wise. But Jupiter holds a trine to Saturn when it comes back from September in your third house. So it's much more positive when it comes to your social relationships, to your social life. So a lot of desires will be fulfilled as well with strong planets like Saturn and Jupiter in the houses of desire. So I think you start enjoying yourself, and Jupiter is looking straight at you, which means it's protecting you from June onwards. You'll feel a lot more energy. Pluto is out of your sign, no more ever in your life. The heaviness is gone. Jupiter is looking straight at you. You'd feel a lot more energy, a lot more opportunities coming to you from others. But you see, most of the planets are below the horizon for you still. So it's still a bit invisible there. But Jupiter will start rising 25, 26 above the horizon. So the best is yet to come, the most visible period for you. Wow, it was more like working on your internal or your personal goals. After that, when Jupiter starts coming on top for the next 7-8 years, you'll be contributing a lot to the world. And Uranus will move out of your fifth house. Your love life can become more peaceful, or Neptune will enter your fourth house. But I speak a lot more about all of those other planets that only affect the first few degrees for now in my 2025 videos. But I want you to remember a big focus on relationships this year for you, personal, business, and this is business houses for you as well. So yeah, this is the focus, but for extra details and how the next 8 years will be, Uranus in your sixth house, Neptune in your fourth house over the next 14 years, and bisextile between Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. How it's going to affect you, that's in my long video of 2.5 hours for your sign. Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising 2025. Aquarius, if I have to make a big summary for this year, where the most important influences are, which are always Saturn and Jupiter, and Mars, of course, if it's retrograde and stays for a long time. This is happening in your earth houses, which are so-called artha, like material success or material comforts, or just sorting out the material aspect of your life, the routines, the habits, the money, the career, anything that is external, that is tangible, that depends on organization. This is where you're going to thrive, and this is where you're going to do the most important work this year for you. As you can see, the year starts with Mars retrograde in your sixth house and stays there till the end of April. So the first 4 months almost, we have this increased emphasis on the sixth house, which is put order in your life, organize, clean up, clean up your health habits. You see, all practical, how you take care of your body is the sixth house, what health habits you have. Mars there can help you with the power of will, and with double down willpower, because when Mars is retrograde, the willpower, Mars is closer to Earth, so it's more intense. We can apply willpower to get rid of unhealthy habits. We can apply willpower to start exercising or to do some new health routine that will be able to take care of an existing health problem. Especially sometimes Mars in the sixth can bring some acute health problems that it like flares up, that pushes us to solve it. Mars is a problem solver, is a fixer-upper. So it's like a fixer-upper for your body, for your health. But sixth house is also your work. Some of you might be working intensely over the first 3-4 months on something that will restructuring their work, some project that they have to redo, to fix, or deciding whether to stay in this employment and job or no. So you see, again, this more material, or deciding to have more order, organization, even if you don't go to work, if you're someone who doesn't have to work. These are your duties, your errands. You might be more emphasis on such matters, cleanliness, or the health, building a health routines, building some kind of a routine around you, or sixth house is your employees or people you work with. They can be that you're dealing with some matters there. It's hopefully not a fight or a battle or power struggles with employees at the office, but it might be some power, some strong wills clashing there. But maybe it's because you're working on something, so you're putting a lot of your energy, almost like workaholic energy there with Mars in the sixth. But when Mars starts turning direct from the end of February, the beginning of March, matters in regards to work start, it's like whatever you've corrected, whatever you've changed, whatever crisis there was and you fixed it, or some structures or some habits you changed, it starts becoming easier and your day becomes more predictable. Before that, it's more up in the air when Mars is retrograde there. Like every day a new wrench is thrown at your wheels. You have to be like quickly react and change your schedule, change your plans, and so on. But at the end, towards March, April, you start seeing, okay, I'm seeing some good results with the changes I've made and so on. But there is strong focus here, work, debts, duties, responsibilities. While all the time, those first 4 or 5 months, Saturn, Neptune, the North Node are in close conjunction in your second house of money. Again, another material house. And Mercury and Venus join the party from February, and then March, they go retrograde in your fourth house, then come back again to your second house, retrograde in April. So there is this window again where there's concentrated energy the first part of the year on matters of finances. To be materially secure, you might be putting extra, and the North Node is there, and it's going to be there for a year and a half. It enhances whatever it touches. It will enhance your personal material responsibility towards your family, towards yourself. You'll take those things seriously. You'll try to consolidate your finances in some way. If you're having some financial crisis, I think especially from June, when Jupiter enters your sixth house, it will start going down. But if it's not a financial problem, it might be something that you're changing with your valuables, with your assets, with your what are your values. I noticed with Saturn in the last 1.5 years in my second house, my values have become more traditional. This is what Saturn is. My values have become, I like more clean, more simple, more elegant. Because second house is, what do you like? What is your values? They're more elegant now. I don't want clutter. I want things clean up. That's a sign I'm getting old. I know. And Saturn there makes you, maybe your values become more towards routine. You start treasuring. And this is what the spirit of Saturn in the second house and the sixth house being activated. Value routines, value traditional values, value simplicity. Less is more, but quality. And Saturn can, of course, it can get rid of certain things, possessions and things that we attach to introduce new such ones. And especially around February, March, April, there might be some financial things that are happening. I think it will be for the whole world, but there might be something that strongly, somehow your finances, your security is strongly activated as a topic for you around that time. I cannot tell you whether it's in a positive or negative way. It depends on your personal horoscope, if those planets are making hard aspects to others in your horoscope or no. For some of you, it might be total rehaul of how you make money, or changing your financial situation, or some investments that you're making, or some payback, the retrograde Venus Mercury from investment that you made, that you get money back for it. Or for others, might be some crisis there. It's very hard to say unless the personal horoscope is seen. But something big here is connected. And second house is also how you eat, your eating habits, what you put in your body. That's the second house. What sustains your body? Is it poison that you put? And Saturn there can make you be very, make it so much easier for you to restrain yourself with what you eat, how you eat, what you put in your body. Saturn gives ability to postpone immediate gratification. And with food, which is the second house, we know how important it is. I remember first time in my life Saturn entered my second house, it unlocked an eating disorder the first 2 years. So I got so obsessed how I eat, what I ate, that it went into eating disorder. When Saturn left, I was out of it. I didn't have it, but I substituted it with, it's kind of, now that Saturn is in my second house, I see the opposite. I've seen that I'm healing from this eating disorder, and either not eating at all and then just becoming more regular but smaller portions. And I was able to, Saturn in the second house, to really do intermittent fasting regularly, every day 20 hours, or every day 17-18 hours. So something with your eating habits and so on. Second house is sight, depends, hopefully. I started making exercises for the eyes because they weaken, because Saturn weakens wherever it goes. It can weaken your appetite, but you can weaken your sight. So it's good to pay attention, make exercise for the eyes, for your teeth. Take care of your teeth this year. It is important. It stays as a theme. And somehow it is all connected to, it's truly like taking care of what supports you, of your health, of the food, of such matters of money, of finances, resources, and all the planets are helping you towards that. But there's some big event here in the spring. And then Jupiter is in your fifth house most of the first 5 months. So it's really protecting you no matter what's happening those first 5 months. Mars in your sixth house, if there's health problems, even Saturn here, whatever is finances, when Jupiter is making a trine to you, you are protected. Your body, your health, your overall, this is the most protective. Whether Jupiter is in the ninth, on the fifth, or the fifth, the sign it's looking at, it's protected. And health-wise, and that you get wisdom. Jupiter brings wisdom to solve any problems quickly, to find out very creative solutions. So even if there's sometimes financial matters, even if there might be something with work happening here, whatever, with arranging your routines in life, even if it's stressful, Jupiter says, don't worry. It's like you have it. You've got this, because you immediately come up with ideas. Fifth house is your good karma from past lifetimes. And Jupiter unlocks it when it transits there. And it's the first half of the year it's there. So your good karma is protecting you. And also you're full of ideas. Write them down. There's very creative period. Usually people can create something unique, can come up or complete or start a project that is their own baby. It's like growing. It can be virtually something, or it can be actually literally growing a baby. It can be literally having a child. It can be literally improving the relationship with your children growing. And Jupiter is to grow fast. Oh, my kids have grown so much since Jupiter entered my fifth house. But also it can be your children having some positive developments in their life, milestones, making you proud in some way. Also having more joy. It's definitely, yes, you're taking care of responsibilities. Second house, sixth house is especially the first 5 months. It's very big on focus, being responsible, being organized, being, taking care of material stuff. But Jupiter says you also be having fun. It's in the fifth house. So you're not just you're not just Cinderella, don't worry. And you'll be noticed. Jupiter in the fifth house they can be romantic developments. You can renew the romantic relationship with an existing partner or revitalize it. You can fall in love again, even more than once when Jupiter is in the fifth house. That's really beautiful energy there. As I said, the creative ideas, new ideas, birth of something new, project of yours or whatever. And romantically positive, very positive as well, developments. Or just having more fun and finding more hobbies and activities that make you feel alive and connected to spirit. And Jupiter enters your sixth house from June onwards. So then the focus becomes, again, whatever. If there was any problems with Mars here, Jupiter heals them. If there was any problems with your work, with your health, Jupiter starts healing. If there was any problems with your colleagues' place of work, maybe you find a job that you really like. Maybe you finally settle into a routine that feels great for you, that you're really enjoying it. Maybe you really start feeling more joy from your job, more meaning from it, or you can expand your business, you can expand your work during that time. Your business, your work can grow, or you can get a promotion, or you can get more employees. Jupiter expands all this, or you can get pets. Sixth house is pets when Jupiter enters from June 2025 till June 2026. Good time for this. I'm not saying that employees and pets is the same. It's just it's ruled in the same house, subordinates in astrology, or more colleagues, or better environment at work as well. Everything like that. And again, work starts flowing, because the first 4 or 5 months, it's difficult planets there, Mars and Saturn in those material houses, but they're making you do the hard work, and they're the ones that really, in matter, we need heavy instruments. That's why Mars, Saturn, they love those Artha house, those earth houses, because they're the instruments. You're tilling the earth, then Jupiter comes and the fruit comes there, and you start seeing the rewards of your hard work. And so that's, remember, this is the focus, second, sixth house. But Saturn, your career, your work, Saturn moves for a little bit with Neptune for about 3-4 months into your third house, from where it will start making sextile to the early born Aquarians. Those first 4 or 5 degrees, they'll feel it. And so will Uranus move to your 5th house when Jupiter moves to your 6th. And Uranus will be there for 4 or 5 months, starting again to help those very early born Aquarians who are going to have Pluto. Pluto can be so life transforming that you feel you died and you're reborn. But because those early 4 or 5 degrees where Pluto will be this year, they will get sextile from Saturn, sextile from Neptune, trine from Uranus from the spring onwards. They would feel, especially towards the summer, all those transformations that are happening in their life. Even if they feel they've lost who they are, the erosion of the previous self, a new identity, they would feel so much better. They would feel like so much support, like everything is aligning, that everything is at the right place at the right time. And actually Uranus and Neptune will be helping Aquarius and Saturn, but Uranus and Neptune till 2030. Together they'll be moving with Pluto. So those early 10-15 degrees Aquarians, they're not gonna feel Pluto as destructive as other Aquarians, as other Pluto transits usually. Just Pluto transits alone. If anything, they would find it like empowering. They would find it like such strength, so much support. But I speak specifically what you can expect in the next 8 years with Uranus in your 5th house, with Neptune in your 3rd house for the next 14 years. In my extended video, I go for Neptune and Uranus at least for 30-40 minutes there, so you can be prepared, and how actually Uranus and Pluto are going to help you create something 3rd housey. Because Neptune and Pluto, they'll join in your 3rd house this year and in 2026. So you'll be called to do something very big in this 3rd house. It might be connected with media, with business, with communication, with information, but you'll be on the cutting edge. And that's a 35-year cycle that Aquarians will be called somehow with information and communication, 3rd house, or knowledge or skills to direct the next 35 years. They'll play an important role because the conjunction is happening in your 3rd house of communication, media, and skills, and writing and speaking. And the whole universe will line up behind you and help you in this mission. But more about it in the extended video. Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising 2025. Pisces, a big chunk of this year is very much concentrated on the so-called self houses, the 1st, the 5th for you. As you can see, there is a huge stellium the first 4 or 5 months of the year, which means many planets will be in your sign. You're going to start feeling it from February, especially strongly. The North Node is entering your sign. Saturn is there already. Neptune is there. Venus and Mercury will go retrograde in your sign or direct after that. They'll be retrograde there. Mars, the first 4 months, is in another self house, the house of your talents and intelligence. So you're finding out who you are this year. And after Mars, Jupiter comes in your 5th house. So all the major players, for me, the major players are always Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars, if it's retrograde. They are activating self houses. You're discovering who you are, what you want, what is aligned, your authentic self, like layers are falling off. And especially with the nodes moving into your sign, the North Node and the South Node in your 7th house, Pisces. It is about North Node and South Node are symbolized by a snake, a dragon in astrology that sheds its skin. So there is a huge shedding of skin that is coming for Pisces. They will be unrecognizable after 2025. Especially the later degrees Pisces. This will be super intense year for them. If you are anything from 20 till 30 degrees Pisces, and especially from 25 till 30 degrees Pisces, all those conjunctions, all those planets and the eclipses, they're happening on those last 5-10 degrees of Pisces. Huge change. I mean, I can't even say which one, because Venus goes, Mercury will be retrograde there. There is an eclipse there and in your 7th house. Saturn is on those degrees. Neptune is on those degrees, the last 5 degrees of Pisces. The early Pisces, somehow, they're out of the storm, you know? They are, and I'm not saying it's a bad storm, but look at this. This is an angular house. It's right in your sign. You're finding out who you are. You're starting a new chapter in your life, especially the bit later Pisces, but the earlier Pisces as well, because it's happening in their first house. So there is like the whole universe combines there to help you find out who you are and what the next step is, the next direction. You're building new, when all those planets line up in your sign, they're trying to help you build new foundations in your life, to start a new chapter, new book, new new genre of literature, if not in your horoscope. It's the rebirth of you, the shedding of the old skin, the birth of the new one. And Saturn still being for the majority of the year in your sign for at least 9 months out of 12 says that you still have to be patient. You might not immediately see the results, but persevere. Do small steps, but daily. And Saturn really is about disciplining you, really is about making you a bit of a what did I say, Shaolin monk, where you have discipline, but where you have faith as well, because Neptune is there, where your Saturn asks you to be organized. Saturn asks you, even though Neptune is there, but Saturn is trying to reign in Neptune now. Be organized, gather yourself a bit. Don't spread yourself thin. Focus yourself. Choose one direction. Prioritize. It's not about, because I know Pisces, people with strong Pisces or mutable signs, they can be like that. They can have 10 pokes in the oven and no direction, or one fish in one direction, one in the other. Now is the opposite time for you, where you are going to determine the direction. It's gonna crystallize for you, and you're gonna find the right priorities and go in that direction without being distracted. And the Saturn brings the sense of time is running out. If I don't mobilize myself now or never type of thing, the sense of time and aging becomes prevalent, a sense that, okay, I need to get serious now. And if you're not doing this consciously, Saturn will force you to do it. There will appear figures in your life that are more demanding, more Saturnian, that are more scrutinizing, but usually when it's a conjunction, it's your inner authority is pushing you to get serious, to prioritize, to put your efforts in one concentrated on mostly two directions. Saturn might ask you to take care of your health when it's the ascendant, to organize your whole life and structure, and put a lot more to remove anything unnecessary. When it's your sun, it might be about your career and what you want to achieve in life, or the important men in your life. When it's your moon, it might be connected to some very important development with the mother, or with important women, or important relationships, or in your personal life, or home and family, that it wants you to organize yourself there. Of course, you have to be, especially the last 5-6 degrees of Pisces, from let's say 22-3 till 30, they have to be a bit more careful with their health. So many planets there's a lot of pressure on them, but because those planets are pushing you to change something in a big way, to start in a new direction, to end with the old, to start the new that you'll be building for the next 28 years, because you're starting a 28-year cycle. Something new appears in your life, something that will stay in your life in a long time, for a long time. It might be habits, it might be people, it might be Saturn, anything Saturnian like a responsibility or duty, sometimes even children, but usually Saturn rules for you the 11th house, long-term goal that you dedicate yourself, some social or economic goal of yours, that you are shedding unnecessary activities and time-wasting activities, and giving up. Saturn allows you to give up things and to prolong gratification, to postpone gratification. So use these gifts of Saturn to train yourself, your body, your health, your career, for example, for your long-term goals. deny yourself. Saturn allows you to deny yourself immediate pleasures and so on, to be much more disciplined overall. And Pisces needs it because you've had Neptune for 12, 14 years in your sign, which is super allowing, which is super directionless. Yes, it's very spiritualizing, but Saturn says now, back to work. So yeah, something very important, especially around the spring there for you guys, big new direction. And you see Jupiter is also on an angle the first 5 months. Well, all those other planets on an angle. The angle are the most important pivotal points. When planets are on the angles, there is action, there is changes. It's not preparation time, it's happening time. It's a peak time of activity. It's a peak time, sometimes can be some of the most stressful times, but the most happening and exciting as well. Because some of the biggest changes happen when both Saturn and Jupiter are on an angle. And that's especially valid till June for you guys. And Jupiter till June is in your 4th house. So it says there is support from your family. It says that while you're making your personal transformations, and all those planets in Pisces are asking you for you to be priority. You know, for once in a lifetime, Pisces want to save everyone. No, focus on yourself. Instead of doing it through partnerships, through others, waiting for someone to push you, you are the generating force. You will be the one that triggers it somehow, the activation. And gather yourself in. And oftentimes Saturn can make you lose weight as well, because it gathers you into, consolidate you into the core. And you're finding out who you are, what you want, where you want to go. Jupiter, the first 5 months, 4 or 5 months, 5, very good in your 4th house because it gives you peace of mind. 4th house is the second mind that we have here, the stomach, the heart. So there is this comfort that Jupiter gives, this sense of being settled, so you can receive support from more supportive family circumstances, improved house or home environment. Some of you might buy properties, gain from properties, sell from properties this 2025, especially the first part. Others can add family members to the family, expanding a family. Jupiter in the 4th can improve relationships with father, mother, or parental figures, can enjoy more their parental responsibilities of home life. But this gives you, this is the foundation, the security. And Jupiter here makes us at least feel emotionally more secure and work through some of our psychological issues to be mental health, to be better as well, more stable. So that gives you happiness while you're doing the hard work of all those planets here in Pisces. There's new beginnings that you're being called to do. And then from June, Jupiter enters your 5th house. Mars was actually in the 5th house the first 4 months. Did I tell you? Yes, these are your talents. Maybe sometimes romantically the first 4 months might be a bit more challenging. Mars is a more challenging planet in the 5th house of romance. Your children might be a bit more challenging as well with Mars in the 5th house the first 3-4 months. Your creative projects, you might be reworking them or considering what are my talents, what am I really good at, because this is a house of what am I really good at, what can I shine at. Some projects or plans you might be reworking. Romantically, you might be reconsidering what you want to do. For me, it was my kids were very difficult when Mars was in the 5th house. And I was rethinking whether I should homeschool. So I was thought very alternatively. You find with Mars retrograde an alternative ways of being and ways that can happen in regards to your children, in regards to education is the 5th house, in regards to your creative project. I rethought or you work on some creative project, you reimagine it, change it. But if there were some stresses romantically or with your children, when Jupiter moves from June into your 5th house, this whole thing disappears. It all improves. So actually, I'm going to tell you that from first in May, the end of May, Mars leaves Pisces. And Neptune actually already from the beginning of April leaves Pisces. So all those heavy hitters, Saturn and Neptune, leave your sign. Just the North Node remains in your sign after May. And the South Node in your 7th house. And by the way, whenever the nodes are in the 1st and the 7th house, once every 9 years, fated relationships appear. So from the beginning of 2025 till the middle of 2026, eclipses, the nodes create the eclipses. They're the fated events. There will be fated relationships that appear in your life. Some will leave, some will come. Usually if someone appears, they stay for a long time, at least half a cycle of the nodes, which is 9 to, or whole cycle, 18 years. People either get married, people get, something big in relationship happens. They will meet very important people. Like when I had the nodes here, I've gotten twice married with the nodes. Not met the biggest loves of my life that ended up to marriages with the nodes. Then the first from moon or sun or ascendant. And also the last time from the ascendant, I met my most important business partner ever. So something with partnerships, but some big shift there happens. But just going back, sorry. From the moment Saturn and Neptune leaves April, the beginning of April, the end of March, your sign, Saturn leaves it the end of May. And right when Saturn leaves, Jupiter moves into a water sign, Cancer. That's very supportive of you. So suddenly Saturn and Neptune, the heavy hitters, are not there. It's like the clouds disperse, lightness, clarity comes. Neptune is not there. It's like those really intense planets move away from you, and just Jupiter is looking at you now. And the North Node is there, so it makes you much more adventurous. Suddenly the summer, from June and onwards, when Saturn is no longer there, for 3 months, you'd feel more adventurous, more easygoing, more willing to take risks. Rahu, the North Node, loves to take risks, loves to travel to foreign countries, to meet foreign people, while Saturn asks you to be traditional, to be responsible, duties, responsibilities first. But then you have a respite for 3 months in the summer. And this wilder side of Pisces comes out, and freedom. So plan your holidays for the summer, June, July, August. Mwah, beautiful for you, because only Jupiter is looking for you. And relationships should be going well, and so on. Well, Saturn and Neptune and Jupiter goes into your 5th house, which means that romantically you can fall in love for the next 1 year. You can have children, or your children can improve, or your relationship with your children can improve. It can heal if Mars created some damage first, a retrograde there. It can heal it romantically or with your children. Some creative project can come to the surface, or new creative ideas can come that you feel very inspired about. You can be full of ideas. These are the new ideas you get. Jupiter in the 5th house. And you can be luckier, more wealthy, more protected. Your physical body starts being protected. There is a lot of healing after Saturn and Neptune leave that Jupiter start doing to Pisces, especially the first 25 degrees of Pisces. They would feel the Jupiter this year till the end of 2025. The last 5 degrees, 2026. They have to wait, but they'll still feel Jupiter making a trine to the whole sign. So you'd feel this lightening. So you can get pregnant easier when Jupiter is in your 5th house. You can create creations, whether you're a painter, whether you make videos like me, whether it's something that is your original, you become more prolific. You can be, if you're an actor, whatever, you can be in center stage roles. You can be more noticed. You can find yourself. 5th house is who you are, yourself, shining, allowing your light to shine, connecting with joy, childlike joy. Pisces, it's coming for you. I know Saturn was very heavy, and it's still very heavy in your 1st house, because you're having to define yourself, set boundaries, priorities, be serious. But then Saturn moves for 3 months. Jupiter is in your 5th house. The childlike joy and inspiration, and finding fun things to do in life again. Letting your hair down, partying, this can also be Jupiter in the 5th house. In finding enjoyable hobbies, or just feeling lighter and more artistic. I'm having currently Jupiter in the 5th house, and I'm really enjoying it. I feel much more joyful, much more happier. And Saturn and Neptune move into your 2nd house, where they'll join almost in July, and then in February 2026, starting a new 35 cycle. So Pisces will discover a new source of income and totally new values sometime over the next 2 years. Like what they like, as food, as clothes, as smells can change so much. And how they make money can so change their worth, their self-worth, their net worth. Some new idea can come to them with the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. But initially it might be like uncertain and a bit scary, but you have 35 years to unfold this. If you're an artist, for example, Saturn and Neptune meeting in your second house can mean that you want to change, you change the materials you work with, you change what the style that you have as well sometimes. Well, also the second house, as I said, is money, but I speak a lot more about the Saturn-Neptune conjunction in your second house, which not many of you will feel in 2025. 2025 is mostly you feel Saturn in your first house, because then it moves from September back again. You feel the North Node in your first house, which is breaks the chains of Saturn a bit to be a bit more risk-taking, but Saturn comes back again. So you have to be at least the last 5 degrees of Pisces to be more conservative still this year, the end of the year as well. But Jupiter is all the time from June onwards looking at you, so nothing bad will happen or everything good. With your personal intelligence and your good karma from past lifetimes, with Jupiter unlocks in the 5th house. This is where your good karma is, your good rewards. You get blessed and something saves you, and you save yourself with your original thinking and being much more aligned with your true self. So definitely, Pisces, you're discovering who you are. There is a lot of support for you this year. The last few degrees of Pisces are having the most intense energy, but otherwise you'll see such a lightening of energetically lifting up and things starting to align so perfectly from the middle of the year when Jupiter enters your 5th house.